will will those on the right hand. They will among endless oak trees and other banana trees with fruit of one above another, and with shades long extended, and by water flowing constantly, and fruits in plenty. Those supplies is not cut off by change of season, nor are they out of reach, and couches or thrones raised high. Verily, we have created maidens of special creation, and made them virgins, loving their husband only, and of equal age. For those on the right hand, a multitude of on the right hand will be from the first generation of Islam, and a multitude of those on the right hand will be from the later generation, and those on the left hand, how unfortunate will be those on the left hand, in fierce hot winds and boiling water, and shadow of black smoke, that shadow neither cool nor even pleasant. Verily, before that they indulged in luxury, and were persisting in great sin, joining partners in worship along with Allah, committing murder and other crimes. And they used to say, when we die and become dust and bone, shall we indeed be resurrected? And also our forefathers say, O Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam,
Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam.
yes, really, those of the old and those of later time, all will certainly be gathered together to the appointed day of a known day.
Takbir, takbir. MashaAllah. Jazakumullah khair. I'm going to invite our father, Alaji Abdul Ghafar Abdisa, to please come up and give Brother Jamal and Sister Zainab a token of appreciation for your good job today. Good job, Jamal, and good job, Zainab. May Allah bless you and your families, inshallah. One each. Good job, Didi.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Well, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Before we do the presentation for our kids here, this is a way just to encourage other families to try as much as possible to encourage their children, to encourage the children, to encourage our children at least to be aware of their religion, to be reciting Quran and the meaning every day if possible, regardless how small it is. It's very important. We are living in this country, and if you do not teach them about your religion, somebody else will teach them things that you do not even like. It's very, very important. Nǹkan tá à ń kí aláàbò sọ fún ẹ̀yin òbí wa, pàápàá jùlọ ẹ̀yin màmá, ó ṣe pàtàkì púpọ̀ jù láti rí i pé ní à ń fi ẹ̀sìn Islam láti ń kọ́ àwọn ọmọ wa láti kékeré. Kí ni ọ̀nà láti fi gbà ẹ̀ náà ní ká jẹ́ kí wọ́n láìkí Al-Quran, má bá kà á kẹ́sì mọ ìtumọ̀ nǹkan tí wọ́n ń kà. Ọlọ́run kọ́lá kan tó máa sọ wá nù.
Ameen.
So on behalf of my team here and to encourage our children, and Sister Zaina, we do appreciate your effort, and we encourage you to continue to learn increasing knowledge. And we give this presentation. This is for you. Okay, this is for you.
Takbir.
And Sister Zaina, this is very important also. Just because a lady is very, very, very important, both men and women, very important. Please do not neglect just because this is a boy, this is a girl, you do not encourage it. No, both of them are very, very important. Kọ́nà tó yàgò kúrò àwọn tó sànù wa o, kó má sọ wá nù, ọ̀nà tó jẹ́ ká sí ilé, kó sì gbogbo wa lérò àlejò náà. So on behalf of the
Ameen.
we want to encourage and want to continue and increase in knowledge.
Ameen.
Very good thing for you. Jazakallah khairan.
Oh, yeah. Takbir. Takbir. Thank you so much. Jazakumullah khairan. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Good job. Next, I would like to inform to start getting ready. Sister Farida Fakos, we're going to invite you up in a minute for your segment, inshallah. How's everybody doing? Shalom, shalom. Alhamdulillah. I want to take a quick quiz. Actually, let's do this together. I want us to review the days of the week in English and Yoruba. We're ready? We're ready? All right. So let's start. Everybody, it's easier one. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday. Good. Pretty okay, right? All right, let's get to the fun stuff. How about the Yoruba version, okay? Yoruba version. You ready? I see some of you smile because you're ready? All right, ready, set, go. I, who I did, my job. Okay, okay, good, good. All right, here's a challenge, okay? I want you to raise your hand if you're below the age of 15. Actually, by the way, does the month of the year, do they also have Yoruba version? Like, is there a Yoruba version for January? What is January in Yoruba? Huh? Shere, February, March, April, March. Someone knows it? You know it? The months of the year in Yoruba? Oh, I gotta give you the mic for this. All right, 1 second, one house. I see it. I see your hand up there too. Oh, okay. All right, here we go.
Shere erele erena ibe obi ibi okudu
MashaAllah.
ageme ogun owewe obala pẹ̀lú
MashaAllah. Woo! Mic. MashaAllah. That's very good. This other mic is wireless, so I can't really drop. MashaAllah is very good. Thank you so much. MashaAllah. Sister Farida Fakos, are you here? How about this? Let's see. That's mine. That's mine. Okay. How about this? This is the year 2023, right? Right? What is the ọdún wo la wà yìí nínú ọdún Islamic calendar? Who can tell me? Just raise your hand and shout it. Just say it. 2023 is what? What year? 1446? You? 1444? Okay. He already earned the gift. Yeah, he earned the gift. MashaAllah. I heard 1446. Someone said 1444. Final answer. What year? 1444. You looked it up. You looked it up. MashaAllah. Good job. Good job. Okay, how about this? Today's month is February. Okay? What month are we in the Islamic calendar? Sha'ban. Very good. And the $1 million question. Today is February 20, what? 26. Then today Sha'ban what? Huh? What is it? The 5th or the 5th? MashaAllah. My app actually says the 6th. They goes one day first. All right. Thank you. That's fine. Sister Farida Fakos. Coming up. All right. One house. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. All right. So, inshallah, thank you so much. Let's pay close attention. Sister Farida Fakos has a segment she's going to share with us. You ready? Good. How are you doing, by the way? You doing okay? All right. Take a deep breath. All right. Everybody see you do well, inshallah. Very good. All right. Go ahead.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
My name is Farida Fakos and I'm going to be reading Yoruba. I'm dedicating this to the Muslim Ummah.
One house.
Nínú ìdẹ̀ra làwa máa gbé láíláí. Nínú ìdẹ̀ra làwa máa gbé láíláí. Aláwo ní ṣoore tó pọ̀ fún mi. Èmi ò ní ṣaláì moore. Ó dójú fún mi, mò ń fojú ríran. Ó dẹnu fún mi, mò ń fẹnu sọ̀rọ̀. Ó dẹ̀sẹ̀ fún mi, mò ń fẹsẹ̀ mi rìn. Ọba tó dápá síbi tó yẹ ká bá gbé. Ọba tó dẹ̀sẹ̀ síbi tó yẹ kó wá. kò ṣe wá ní fọwọ́ tẹlẹ̀ bíi tọpọlọ,
Wow.
kò ṣe wá ní káfíìrì elétí ikún.
Wow.
Nínú ìṣòro, òun ni àbójúlé. Nínú ìdẹ̀ra, òun ni àfẹ̀yìntì. Nínú ìdẹ̀ra làwọn ọmọdé láéláé.
MashaAllah. Takbir. Takbir. MashaAllah. You know what? I'm gonna go off script here. And I just want to say, if you have some cash on you would like to give to Farida, please come out and give it to her. Just you got me there. Okay, Alaja. Alaja and Yawale can prepare a gift before, and you're not wrong. We will give her a gift. Oh, we have the gift for her. Cash. Somebody say, can you say it again? You have to pay. You don't mind? Do you mind? You don't? Okay. All right. All right. Here we go. All right. Round two. Here we go, Farida. Go ahead.
I'm dedicating this to the Muslim movement. Nínú ìdẹ̀ra làwa máa gbé láéláé. Nínú ìdẹ̀ra làwa máa gbé láéláé. Aláwo mi ṣoore tó pọ̀ fún mi. Èmi ò ní ṣàlàyé ìmoore.
MashaAllah.
Ojojú fún mi mò
Thank
ń
you. Thank you.
fojú ríran.
Uh-huh.
Ojú mi fún mi mò ń fẹnu sọ̀rọ̀.
Uh-huh.
Ó dẹ̀sẹ̀ fún mi mò ń
MashaAllah.
fẹsẹ̀ mi rìn.
Thank
Ọba
you.
tó dá wa
MashaAllah.
síbi tó yẹ ká bá gbé.
Uh-huh.
Ọba tó dẹ̀sẹ̀ síbi tó yẹ kó wà ó.
Uh-huh.
Kò ṣe wá ní fọwọ́ tẹlẹ̀ bíi tọpọlọ.
Uh-huh.
Kò ṣe wá ní káfíìrì elétí ikún.
MashaAllah.
Nínú ìṣòro, òun ni àbójúlé. Nínú
MashaAllah.
ìdẹ̀ra, òun ni àfẹ̀yìntì. Nínú
MashaAllah.
ìdẹ̀ra làwa máa gbé láéláé.
MashaAllah. Takbir. MashaAllah. I'm proud of all of you, man. MashaAllah. Wa alaikum salam. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yeah, she has. Thank you. MashaAllah, Farida. Good job. Good job. MashaAllah. Good job. Good job. MashaAllah. Kilavi? Yeah. Thank you, doctor. MashaAllah. Takbir. Allah Akbar. MashaAllah. Okay, so just for the sake of curiosity, right? Um, oh, Farida, after you count your money, here's a gift for you too. MashaAllah. Mabruk. Good job. Um, so, yeah, okay, here you go. Here you go. Good job. MashaAllah. Yeah, inshallah. Inshallah. All right. I want to give one person from, I saw Alaji Oyewo, and I want to give, I'm not sure, a volunteer, who can just share with us what exactly inspired you about the skit you just did? Like, just talking about it. Who would like to share some words about, like, how did you feel? What made you excited, happy about it? Who wants to go first? I'm going to pick somebody. All right. I see Alaji. I see Alaji's hand up. I'm gonna come to Alaji. I'm gonna pick a volunteer. Everybody go I know more than big kilo more than wow if they pa know. Alaja, here you go. Uh-huh. MashaAllah. 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 Jazakumullah. Takbir. Allah Akbar. I do need help. I'm gonna go to Alaji Iwo. That's fine. Thank you. Here. I'm going for Alaji Iwo. And then I'm gonna come to Alaji Muripa. I know. I want to hear your thoughts. All right. Alaji Alaku. And then after that, I'm gonna come to Dr. Zainab Abidogu.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
I was so impressed because they don't go Yoruba enough. So, and I didn't have the opportunity to even raise my kids to know how to speak Yoruba either. But when you see all these youngsters coming up with their children learning this language, you should be well impressed. And that's why I was moved to, give my little token.
MashaAllah.
And they will
Mashallah.
call you now, so
That's
don't
fine.
call
That's
me.
fine. We'll pass it. Is your wife here today, by the way?
Huh?
Is your wife here today?
He's on our way.
She's on her way, inshallah. Mashallah. Thank you so much, Alaji. All right, one last. I'm going to say that, inshallah.
Because I couldn't do what she did, so I want to be like her when I grow up.
I didn't. Oh, I missed. Sorry. I didn't hear what you said. I didn't hear. I didn't hear. Sorry. I was distracted. Go ahead.
I couldn't do what she did, so I want to be like her when I grow up.
Oh, mashallah, mashallah. No pun intended. Okay. Mashallah. Jazakallah khairan. All right. So we have the next segment being set up. All right. But before we do that, I'm gonna pick some volunteers. I'm gonna pick. By the way, as we recognize, um, just like recognize this for Rita, I also want to shout out to my brother.
My name is Harun and I'm 8 years old.
That was Harun. He also was able to tell us the months of the year in Yoruba. Okay, so here's the next one, okay? I want you to raise your hand. This is volunteering. You're gonna raise your hand, and then the first letter of your last name, you have 7 seconds to tell us 5 countries that begin with the first letter of your last name. Okay, so my last name is. You want to go first?
Afghanistan,
What's your first letter of your last? Tell us your last name.
Ahmed,
Ahmed. Okay, and that's A. Okay, you have 7 seconds. 5. Come on.
Afghanistan,
1.
Albania,
Albania. 3, 4, 5, 6. No. No, my next person. Look at him, please. The one with the brother with white shirt. Don't think that I didn't look it up. If you're looking up, I'm allowed to judge. All right, tell us your last name.
Johnny,
What's your last name?
Johnny,
Good. And then A.
America,
America.
Afghanistan, Albania, Algeria.
One more. Going. Okay, another one here. No more A's. All right, we have a sister over there. We have a sister over there. No more A's. If your last name is Abiyogun, Subhana Rabbika, next time, inshallah. If your last name starts with an A, over there in the corner. Oh, it's an A? Oh, unless you can say countries that they haven't said yet. All right, how about that? Come on, any other volunteer? Should I pick somebody?
We
We'll go with O.
Algeria.
La ilaha illallah. Come on, help me out. Okay, we have a volunteer. Help me out. Albania, that's a good one, but that's an A. We're not doing A's anymore. All right, one last volunteer. All right, let's see.
S,
What's the last name?
Sanusi,
Sanusi, okay.
Sweden,
Sweden,
Sudan,
Switzerland,
Switzerland,
going.
South Africa,
South Africa, one more.
South Sudan.
Ah!
Yes, it is a country.
Okay, Takbir.
Mashallah.
Allah Akbar, mashallah. You have a lot of supporters, mashallah. All right, I'll take one last one from the guy side. I can't let. I see your head, but I want to see if the guys. Come on, brothers, you want to go for a shot? All right, go for it. Come on, I see the look on his dad's face. Come on, what's your last name?
Vidmas,
Okay, let's go.
Belgium,
Belgium,
Brazil,
Brazil,
Bangladesh,
Bangladesh,
Bolivia,
Bolivia, going.
Bulgaria.
Bulgaria, mashallah. Takbir, Allah Akbar. All right, what's the status? I want to see. I saw a hand up there, and I saw a hand up there. All right, I saw one hand up here, and I saw one hand up there. All right, I'm gonna go with Alaji Alakukam. Let me give the mic to her, please. What's your last name? Oh, we already, oh, have we done O? Oh, man. Mashallah. That's good. That's good.
Algeria is part of it now.
Elijah, no, no. All right. I saw his hand up. You raised your hand, right? I thought you raised your hand. Oh, you, okay, okay, good. All right. That's good. Mashallah. Good. Mashallah. That's good. That's good. That's good. All right. So, inshallah, we're about ready for the next item on the agenda. We want to make sure everything is all set, inshallah. How's everybody doing? Everybody's good? Everybody's good? Takbir? We're kind of sluggish today. How about this? Who can tell me? Excuse me. Raise your hand if you prefer coffee over tea. I asked that earlier. Raise your hand if you prefer coffee over tea. No? Few people. All right. Raise your hand if you prefer tea over coffee. Wow, a lot of people tea over coffee. All right. All right. Who can tell me the answer to this riddle? What is the hardest tea to swallow? Wow, you never. Okay. Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. Can you say it? The truth? That's a good one. Somebody said chai. Somebody said honest tea. I really love that. And you said the truth. There's one more I'm looking for. The hardest tea to swallow. Agbo. Agbo does not qualify as tea. Alaja. It's actually tea. What kind of tea is that? A herbal tea? Really? Lipton. You want to tell me what's the NAVDAC number for Agbo? Huh? Agbo to the NAVDAC number. Agbo doesn't count. One last one. You know what? I'm actually going to go for honesty. What I was looking for was reality. And that's actually what Dr. Mr. Habib said. She said honesty, but that's reality. That's a good one. All right, good. All right, so that's a good one. Let me see. I'm trying to come up with another riddle. Who has a good riddle? A good one. A riddle? Anybody? Anybody? Come on. You have a good riddle? You do? Okay, I'm coming. Let's listen. 1 second.
What is something that has it has a head, no body, and it can't move? And people use it in both.
We have to answer first. It has a head, no body, it cannot move, and people use it the most. A point, a coin. Oh, that's a good one. Mashallah, good. Actually, I was going to do this. Who can tell me? You have to be fast. Let's go with dollars first. On $1 bill, tell me the name, the head. Thanks for the inspiration. What's the name of the president on the $1 bill? Say it out loud. George Washington? Everybody agree? Okay, how about $2? How about 100 naira? Who can tell me the name of the picture on 100 naira? You know it? What is it? Chief Abafemi Awolowo. Is that right or wrong? That's correct? MashaAllah. We're going to get started in a minute, inshallah. That's good. MashaAllah. Alhamdulillah. May Allah bless all of you. Ameen. All right. Now, Alhamdulillah, we're going to move on to the next item on the agenda. And I'm very excited to invite our guest speakers for today. We ask that you please give them your full attention as always. We also have a stand back there for you to learn more about today's event. I'm going to invite up onto the table to speak to us today Sister Selena Ali. She is a licensed professional counselor associate at Sacred Mind. She uses a compassionate approach and strives to empower her clients to lead more fulfilling lives. Beyond therapy, she serves as a mental health coordinator for Darul Sakina, which is a non-profit organization that serves Muslim families with disabilities. Sister Selena enjoys making memories with her family and reciting the Quran. Without further ado, I would like to invite to please share with us words of encouragement, reminder by Sister Sakina Ali. Takbir.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. I am so excited to be here today with the community of Masjid-ul, seeing such vibrant colors and such delicious smells, and seeing everybody's beautiful faces and the warmth. As soon as I entered the door, I felt the warmth. So thank you for welcoming Dar Sakina to Masjid-ul. We are a special needs. So Dar Sakina actually serves the Muslim community of Houston that for families that have special needs individuals. Um, Let me show you a video actually that will serve to describe what we do. Yeah. Is there any way to connect the audio?
Uh, one of my buddies over there, if you don't mind, let me cut the lights out, please.
So while we're figuring out the audio, I think I'm going to leave today
Thank
learning a few words in Yoruba.
Okay.
What's an essential word that I should know?
All right. Who wants to go first? Volunteers. Just say it out loud. Did you hear that? One more time.
É caro. Is that correct?
Good. One more time. Here.
Oh, you're good.
You know I can put on the spot. Here you go.
É caro. I hope I'm going to say that right. É caro. É caro. You got to say it with that attitude, I think, right? É caro. And what does that mean?
It means good morning.
Oh, good morning. Okay. So, é caro. And what is a dish in the Nigerian community that everybody's mamas make and is a must? What is that? The jollof rice. Okay.
Is that Yoruba now? She wants punk Yoruba. All right, give us. We wanna give her a tongue twister. What's yours? All right, Sister Selena, we have one for you here.
Okay.
Amala and Ewedu.
Say that once more.
Shh. 1 second. We gotta keep it down. Sister Selena is trying to learn the Nigerian authentic recipe. So we want to make sure she hears this.
Amala and Ewedu.
You're going to have to help me, brother.
Amala and ewedu.
Amala uedu.
How did she do? How did she do? 10 out of 10? MashaAllah.
I'm going to need lessons later, sisters. But yes, okay, so who's going to say their jollof rice is the bomb? To beat. Whose jollof rice is like the best? I guess everybody's is really great, right? Okay, wonderful. If we can't figure the video out, it's okay. We can move forward. We won't complicate things.
आप इसको ले जाके टैक्सी स्टैंड में चेक करवाओ कि ये रॉन्ग क्यों नहीं करता। तो मैं टैक्सी स्टैंड में लेके गई और चेक करवाया। My name is Myrtle Taruni. I have 4 children. My oldest son, Matt, is diagnosed with autism, intellectual disability, and epilepsy. Magic was 4 when he was diagnosed. We felt like we had a loss when we found out that because we didn't know. We felt like we were losing our
Almost there, almost there, almost there.
great things that we imagined in his life, like having friends and activities and getting married someday. मेरा नाम रावी है, मेरे 2 बच्चे हैं, मुस्तफा माशाल्लाह 8 years old और किसी ने मुझे बताया यहाँ किसी मॉम ने मुझे बताया कि आप उसको ले जाके टैक्सी स्टैंड में चेक करवाओ कि वो क्यों नहीं करता। फिर मैं टैक्सी स्टैंड में लेके गई और चेक करवाया तो मैंने बताया कि वर्ड ऑटिज्म।
My name is Ahmed, and I have 3 autistic kids, and my oldest one is Shalana, and then I have a daughter named Monica, and my son, the third one is Hamza. They are not in any very long. I mean, they've been
Myrtle.
So if I could request everybody's attention, this is a video about what Darshana does.
Diagnosed with autism, intellectual disability, and epilepsy. Imagine before when he was diagnosed, we felt like we had a loss when we found out the news because we didn't know. We felt like we were losing our ideas of the great things that we imagined in his life, like having friends and activities and getting married someday. मेरा नाम रावी है, मेरे 2 बच्चे हैं, मुस्तफा माशाल्लाह 8 years old और बेटी अलीना 5 years। एक दिन मुझे मैं मस्जिद फारूक में नमाज पढ़ने आई तो किसी ने मुझे बताया मेरा दारुस्तान है। यहीं पे किसी मॉम ने मुझे बताया कि आप इसको ले जाके टैक्सी स्टैंड में चेक करवाओ कि ये वॉक नहीं करता। फिर मैं टैक्सी स्टैंड में लेके गई और चेक करवाया तो मैंने बताया कि वर्ड ऑटिज्म।
My name is Murtazan Ahmed, and I have 3 autistic kids, and my oldest one is Shalana, and then I have a daughter named Monica, and my son, the third one is Hamza. They are not at any school anymore. I mean, they've been graduated back in 2016. Over the period of time, I felt that my kids are, frustrated because they only see mom and dad. They go on places, but it's basically the same places over and over and over again. So they needed some sort of outlet. And the good thing happened was this Darshana. When they came here the very first day, I was so reluctant. I don't know if they're going to come out here or not, like it, dislike it, what the situation is going to be. But it turned out to be so great that we look forward to come every Sunday. And they are asking me that one day is probably not enough. They need more days. So I guess it's like the interaction. That's what they want to interact with. And it just turned out to be tremendously for my kids.
My name is Wasim Ahmed, and I'm the Field Services Coordinator for Dar Sakina. And so, just working with Dar Sakina, like I get to wake up every day and I get to serve the people of Jannah. And that is such an immense privilege for me and for everyone who works and volunteers for Dar Sakina.
So I'm an intern with Dar Sakina, and being an intern involves having somebody that you can give money to. You're sort of like a mentor to this person, and you're able to teach them, to guide them, to help them build social skills, and just be a friend and everybody for them. It's taught me patience, it's taught me gratitude. You feel grateful to Allah for the things that you have. You see some of the things that other people have to go through and the struggles that Allah has chosen for them.
All of the effective movements in our lifestyle have come from learning from other moms because they've lived it, they've done it, they know what works. This close-knit community, that's what really brings everybody together. If somebody doesn't show up, we're like, what's going on with them? Why are they not here? They'll reach out to me, are you okay? We need to take care of each other. And this is how,
preschool kindergarten, which is incredible. We are able to provide hospital assistance. We are able to provide education advice for families.
Yeah, that would be fine. No, that's fine. Can you just help me go to the next slide? There we go. Okay. Thank you so much for sticking through that. I know it was hard to hear. Thank you. I know it was hard to hear, right? We didn't really understand what was going on. But Dara Sakina means house of tranquility or house of peace. It's a place for our families with special needs individuals.
Thank you. Thank you.
So what we do is we provide that space. Can I ask you, how many of us have seen a family with we're going to assume that we all have the best of intentions. This is a safe space. We want to create a space where we can all share those views. And what we're going to do is use people first language. Who's heard of people first language? Anyone? Okay, so this is a new concept for many of us. The difference between identity first language and person first language is that when we talk about our identity, we say that's who we are. For example, all of us here have the identity of being Muslim. So we're saying, I'm Muslim. But a person who has a disability or special needs, they may not want to be identified by their disability. So instead of saying, oh, this person is deaf or this person has autism, we're going to say they're a person with autism. They're a person who is visually impaired or who has a hearing impairment. So what that does is instead of that becoming like putting ourselves in a box, we recognize, or putting others in a box, we recognize that that person is separate from their disability. That may be an aspect, but that's not who they are. Because how common is it, at least I know I'm Pakistani American, right? So in our community, many times, especially back home, we would identify, especially behind a person's back, their identity, we would call them like, oh yes, the person who has the blind daughter. Would you say that to a person's face? Probably not. Why? Because it seems disrespectful. We want to define people not by their limitations. We want to use the best words because words matter. They're powerful. They help. They can, cause deterioration, hurt.
Get everyone. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. One more time. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I've just been told that some of us are really trying to hear what Sister Selena is saying, and we're not able to hear what she's saying. So please do me a favor. Do yourself a favor. Make sure that yourself and the person next to you is not talking. Hey, Joe. Hey, please, I need you to help me for the sensitive topic, please. Please. This is very important. We want to make sure we can all hear what she's saying.
Salaam alaikum. Ẹ jọ̀ọ́ ẹ̀yin sisters wa yín màmá wa à ń bẹ̀ yẹn ni. Ẹni tí a gbé wá yẹn kò ń ṣe ara wa ń bí ó jáde láti ilé ẹ̀rọ láti máa bá a sọ̀rọ̀ ní ẹ̀ka farabalẹ̀ ká gbọ́ nǹkan tó fẹ́ sọ. Ẹ kí gbogbo wa jókòó ká tẹ́tí kí sì nǹkan tó fẹ́ sọ. Ọlọ́gbàdúrà gbogbo wa.
Thank you. Please go ahead.
Thank you. It's a Sunday. It's morning. I understand we're with families, so inshallah, we'll try to make this interactive. Thank you so much for coming out and hearing, being here, right? So going back to our words are powerful. They can hurt somebody. They can remember. It can affect them for the rest of their life when they're criticized or judged. And they have the power to build. They have the power to unify. So our words matter. And going to the unification, let's talk about what is a community? Who can answer for me what a community is? Anybody, what's your definition of community? What comes to your mind? Yes. A group of people with common values, exactly. Anybody else have a different definition of community? The kiddos out there, if y'all want candy, y'all can speak up. I'm gonna pass y'all some candy. Okay, it sounds like everybody agrees. And yes, that's right. It is a feeling of fellowship with others with common attitudes, interests, and goals. We are of diverse backgrounds, ancestry, locations, features, nationalities, united under Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So even in this community, and I understand it was started by Nigerian Americans, how many differences do we have even in our culture? There's subcultures. Within the subculture, there's another subculture. And we learn from each other. So just as we learn from each other in the world of disabilities, with our families who have special needs, there's also unique differences that we can learn from. Just because somebody has autism and you got to know them, it doesn't mean it means the same thing about another kid who has autism or another adult. It's on a spectrum, so you may see differences, but we learn from those differences how to expand our hearts. Okay, so let's do an exercise. Let me see everybody's hands. Just kind of look at your hands, right? Hold it up in front of you. Observe how all 5 of your fingers are different sizes, right? They're different sizes. They have different strengths. Use your pointer for writing. Your thumb is used for many different things. We don't know this, but our other fingers help to stabilize grips, right? So every one of them have a different use. Now, what I want you, just like us, are people in our ummah, we may have differences, but we have to appreciate the differences of each one. Now, try to do this, right? Try to take your pointer and put it in the middle of your palm. What does it feel like? What are your other fingers doing? Is there some resistance? Does it feel a little weird, right? Okay, now try to put 2 fingers down, right? Like the pointer and the one beside it. Still some tension, some odd, right? There's some resistance there. It doesn't feel good. Now make a fist. It feels strong, feels good. There's comfort, right? This is what we are when we all come together as an ummah. When we include all of those with differences, whether it's limitations when it comes to our physical abilities or cognitive abilities, there's comfort in that. And one of our hadiths that goes into that is the similitude of believers in regard to mutual love, affection, fellow feeling is that of one body. When one limb of it aches, the whole body aches because of sleeplessness and fever. So when one of our brothers or sisters, when they are in pain, when they are suffering, when they are having a hard time with their families, you know, if you see a family with special needs and you see that they're kind of aloof, or they've kind of separated themselves. It may help to kind of approach them, make them a part of us, invite them back in. When we had heard about this earthquake in Turkey and Syria, right? When we heard about the Turkey earthquakes, how many of us felt something even though we weren't physically there? Our hearts ached. So although there are some things that we cannot do, right? We can't physically go there and help for most of us. That's a limitation. But there are so many things that we can do. Just in the same way, there are so many things that we can do to support our special needs families. Okay. This is a video, but I feel like it's going to be difficult to hear. So let's just go into what is a disability, right? So can somebody, or you know what, I don't care, I'll just read it. A disability is a physical, cognitive, or mental problem that can make it difficult or impossible for a person to walk, see, hear, speak, learn, or other important tasks. So there are physical disabilities. Who can name a physical disability or describe one? Remember, this is a safe space, so there's no right or wrong answers, right? It just directs us. Many of us who, if someone answers one way, I'm sure many others are thinking the other way. Can somebody name a physical disability or what it looks like? Yes. Cerebral palsy, that's right. So cerebral palsy, many people you'll see have an issue with their spine, and so some of them are in wheelchairs. Others may use other supports and can actually walk with the use of other supports. So like I said, these disabilities may look different even if the diagnosis is the same. Okay, so let's go to cognitive disabilities. These are problems with the brain or mind. So these could be mental illnesses. This is, for example, dyslexia, a learning disorder. Who's heard of dyslexia? Yeah, so, sometimes they may not read in the same way we do, or they're not seeing the numbers in the same way, they're flipped around. There's autism spectrum disorder. With this, and we'll go into this later, but it looks very different in different people. There's also mental illnesses that can have a sort of mental impairment as well. There's also ADHD, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, where you may see a child who's a little more active, and other children may be able to hold themselves, but a child with an ADHD or an adult with ADHD, you may see that they're not able to concentrate as others do or focus. So some of the common signs are, for example, we expect our children, I saw in this community, it's youth first. Families are getting together and you're really promoting the youth to learn, right? So socializing with others, our aunties, our uncles, our elders, youngsters getting along, socializing is important. But someone on the autism spectrum may not be able to socialize like we do. For example, they may have trouble making eye contact. They may look here and there. Now, I know in the Pakistani community, it's a big no-no. Look me in the eye when I talk to you, right? Like our elders, that's what they say. Excuse me, what are you doing? Why are you being disrespectful? That's not okay. But someone, if we find out, is on the autism spectrum disorder, who's not able to, because their brain is wired differently, not able to make that eye connection, then we can extend some empathy. We'll have some understanding that they're not being disrespectful. Their brain is wired differently. Okay, so avoiding or resisting physical contact. Now, many of us may have like a sensory issue. Who here is super annoyed by scratchy tags on your shirt? Yeah? Okay, what about loud, scratchy, like, when somebody puts their nails on the chalkboard? Oh, that's the worst for me, right? So we may have these experiences where certain things bother us. But when it comes to certain individuals with cognitive disabilities, for them, it's excruciating. It's beyond what we feel. So they may not prefer any physical contact. If you come to give them a hug, they may kind of push away, right? Again, this is not disrespect. This is because they're wired differently. So also understanding others' feelings. certain, people with disabilities may actually not understand that you're offended or sad because they're not able to read your facial expression. When I'm doing this, what does this show? Sad. What about this? Annoyed, right? Y'all can read this. For someone who has a cognitive disability, they don't understand that. They have to be taught what facial expressions mean what. Okay. Another thing is like they feel discomfort when their routines are completely disrupted. So if it's not exactly how it's been, there's been a change, then they're going to get dysregulated. What does dysregulated mean? They may get angry. They may start hitting themselves. They may start having tics. Certain tics look like this, right? Shaking your arms. For us, it may feel different, but for them, this is how they get their energy or frustration out. So if you see someone hopping around in a masjid or, hitting their hand on the wall, a lot of people get confused because we don't know what's happening. We're thinking, respect the masjid, be kind. But what we don't know, many of us in the community don't know, is that this is a person with special needs. And what ends up happening is that mom or that dad can't really regulate their child in the same way that us typical parents can. Typical is somebody with not special, doesn't have special needs. They can't say, child, sit down, you're being disrespectful, right? For a lot of us parents, we can say that. Or for a lot of us kids, we can say, okay, you know what? Yeah, I was kind of acting out, got excited when I saw my friends here. So I started talking loudly. And so we're like, okay, I'll be quiet. But for these adults and kids, it's really difficult. They're not able to. So we want to extend that compassion. Okay, how do we interact then? I'm going to tell you, when I started with Dar Sakina, I was scared. I did not want to offend anybody. I really had minimal contact with parents or families or children with special needs. So I was like, maybe I should ignore them and, so they don't feel embarrassed. Or if I talk to them, would I be asking information or making them feel uncomfortable? What do I do? What am I supposed to do? Guys, what I learned, they are families just like you and me. They feel in the same exact way as you and me. So when they're displaying certain behaviors, when we can't relate to what's happening, what we can do is the following. We can be patient. So if somebody, for example, my grandfather, very smart, but when he grew elderly, he had a hearing impairment. So he wore hearing aid. And we would have to repeat things multiple times. I was a teenager, so I didn't have that much patience. And when my grandfather asked, he's like, so what are you doing? And I answered for the third time. I kind of raised my voice and I was rude. I regret it still because I didn't exercise that patience. He wasn't. I assumed, and I realize that now, that just because my grandfather's hearing was less, that maybe his thought process had slowed too. That's not true. Just because somebody has an impairment of one type, like if they cannot walk, if they cannot hear as we do, it does not mean that it impacts their understanding. It does not mean that they have a mental disability, right? Like, it doesn't mean that he's slower. He was just as quick as before. He was processing things. And when I treated him like that, I almost babied him, or when I spoke to him in a raised voice, it hurt his feelings. So what we can do instead, what I learned from that is that we can extend patience and understand it's okay. This person doesn't hear, so we can just give them extra time. Somebody who has an intellectual development disability may not process things at the same speed you and I do. I mean, shoot, I'm gonna say, compared to you guys, I probably have a lesser processing speed. I take my time. I call myself a turtle. I process things. But then exercising that patience with somebody with an intellectual development disorder, it would just be when you ask them a question, hey, what's going on? What grade are you in? They may take a little bit to process it. We just give them that time. Or give them options. Are you in third, fourth, fifth grade? Oh, okay. Right? We can be kind and flexible. So if somebody has a new routine and they're feeling frustrated, right? For example, normally they eat a McDonald's fries and then they go into their class, and then after class their mom picks them up exactly at a certain time. Well, what happened is the mom didn't pick them up at exactly the time that they expected, and now they're feeling frustrated, right? So they may have repetitive behaviors. Some of those repetitive behaviors could be like hitting their head or jumping or making noises, right? So if they're doing that, although may not be able to control that, we can still be kind. Instead of yelling or screaming and feeling like, what are you doing? Oh my God, what am I supposed to do? We can still maintain our calm. Yes, for sure. Okay. Another thing that we can do is use gestures to communicate. So somebody who can't hear, we just can gesture to them. We can show interest in their affection. We can show interest and affection. So many of our kids at our Sakina, they're into BTS, the Korean uh, band, and they're into like looking at comics and things like that. So just taking an interest. And then, of course, not taking things personally. They may sound blunt when in reality, they're not trying to offend at all. Okay, so let's try something together. Um, we're going to see if how individuals with disabilities are treated differently. So what I would like to do is for everyone to kind of form groups of 10. So everybody just kind of form groups of 10, and we're going to pass out some scenarios.
If I can have Zainab Khan please come up to help us out. And while we're doing that, just FYI reminder, if you have kids under the age of 6 and below, please take them to the ladies' side of the masjid. And if they're between 7 to 12, you can please bring them into this room right here. We're going to try to do this scenarios as quick as possible, and then we'll move on to the next item of the agenda, inshallah. So thank you so much for your patience, inshallah. These are scenarios we're going to pass out just to hear you guys, your thoughts, your feedback. And if you have any questions from what Sister Selena is discussing, we also have a panel coming up afterwards that we can all take the questions and answers, inshallah. You can have that.
All right, so what we're gonna have you guys do is I want you to go ahead and read the scenarios in your group, and I want you to see what the scenario says, and then tell me what we can do differently as a community to make sure something like that doesn't happen in our masjid, that doesn't happen in our community. How can we make sure that we include individuals with disabilities? I'm gonna give everyone about 5 minutes to go ahead and read it together, and then I'm gonna ask you guys questions on how you can change it.
All right, so we need more? Okay, here, just give them.
Does everyone have a team or a group that they're working with? Can I get a thumbs up? Yes? All right, can you guys go ahead and please read it together? So the brothers up here, if you guys want to turn around and read it to each other. Work together.
Just so everyone is aware, for those of you who have scenario one, as you're reading, just you have scenario one. Okay, just read along and share your thoughts and see how we can. Sorry. Okay. All right. Take your time.
Okay, everyone. Who has scenario one? Raise your hand. Guess who has scenario one? Yeah? Okay.
Scenario one.
So we're trying to find out what's wrong with the scenario. So I'm just going to read it and then we'll discuss what's wrong with it, right? And what we can do to fix it.
Shh. One house, now one house, one house.
Sarah is a 16-year-old with an intellectual disability. She loves coloring, singing songs, and making new friends. Sarah's at the masjid. She's usually interested in things children younger than her are doing. She's chasing the little kids saying, I'm gonna catch you, I'm gonna catch you. A teenager sitting on the floor smirks and yells after, hey, stop acting like such a baby. You look at Sarah and then at the teenager and don't like what you see. You decide to stay out of it. Sarah frowns and quietly goes to sit alone in a corner. So what's wrong with this picture, guys? For those of you who have scenario one, please go ahead and raise your hands for me. Yes, back there? All right. I'm going to ask you guys, what can we do differently if we encounter this situation in our masjid? Does anyone want to?
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Um, Alhamdulillah, we should talk to the other teenager to accommodate Sarah's disability, to understand Sarah's disability, and she should realize that not all teenagers behave like teenagers. So, and also talk to Sarah to be cheerful, to cheer her up, that what she's doing is normal. So, that's how far we've gone to discuss the issue, but we welcome other ideas.
Thank you so much. So what I'm hearing is that we should go ahead and talk to the other teenager and let her know that it's the way that some people act. Not everyone is going to act the same. Does anyone else who has scenario number one want to tell me what they would do in that situation?
Assalamu alaikum. What you really need to understand is Sarah does not actually understand and she cannot comprehend what is really happening in her surroundings. So there is nothing you can say to Sarah for her to understand what is actually happening. So Sarah just see little kids that are playing and she wants to join them and play with them. And she can be a little bit rough sometimes. You just have to come close to her and try to calm her down. Because I've been in that kind of situation before at the masjid. So there is this boy that has disability, but every time he comes into the masjid, he does not sit down to learn the Quran. But when you give him a piece of paper, he can write everything, and he writes very, very clearly. But it's very hard to accommodate kids like that. We have a lot of other kids that does not have that kind of disability. So to me, I believe we should be more welcoming and we should have more tolerance of each other and try to understand our environment more and try to see people and look at them and try to see what they're actually going to at that moment.
Beautifully said. Thank you so much for that. Can I please make sure that everyone is listening? I know that we are running over time, but it's really important that we learn together as a community. Can everyone please quiet down? Okay, so who has scenario two? We're going to read the scenario and then we'll do the same thing. You are at a community festival. There are lots of rides and games for kids to enjoy. You buy some tickets for your 11-year-old niece, and she runs off to play with some friends. You meet a college friend and go with her to find something to eat. As you wait in line, you see a woman with her young child in a wheelchair. He must be about 7 or 8. He's holding a balloon. He's looking wistfully, sadly at other children jumping in the bounce house. His mom is busy talking on the phone. You get your food and walk around the festival. You see the same kid again with his wheelchair parked next to the picnic table, still looking longingly at other kids enjoying the rides. His mom is now helping her 2 other young children eat their dinner.
One of them is crying and the other just spilled his milk. Mom looks flustered and close to tears. What do we do? And I saw a hand raised up there. Uh-huh.
So, so we have scenario number two. So the first thing that jumped out in this scenario is the fact that she was afraid that she might offend the mother. So that right there is a problem, you know. I guess especially for us with coming from um, our culture, you know, given that we tend to like, okay, that person has a disabled child, we don't want to offend them. It shouldn't be. And it goes back to inclusiveness, right? Where it should be a natural thing to just jump in, just seeing a mother with three children and handling two other kids. And yeah, so we felt that should be a natural thing. And the idea of most of the time, we don't understand what the concept of disability because of the cultural background. And I guess that's what this is about, like understanding it, having understanding of disability and the empathy to be able to include, see them as any other child and be able to offer the help that the mother needs. Like, oh, can I help? I can see you helping other two kids, So, and I see that the other child is willing to join in the fun. So, yeah. So,
As the sister said, so many of us kind of feel that we didn't understand that it's not really about offending the other. They're just like us. So if you see a mother overwhelmed, we're gonna go and help it. Like, oh God, your kid's told us, let me help you. What is it that I can help you with, right? So yes, that's what we would do in this scenario too. We ask if they need help. Maybe they'll say no, but if they say yes, then we're here for them. We can always share a smile though, right? Okay, wonderful. Now let's go to okay, there's one more. Okay.
Okay. Salam alaikum, sisters. Everybody, actually. So we also have scenario two, and one thing that we did recognize too is yes, she was a little scared to go forward, but we were also thinking that sometimes some of us we feel like we may be viewed as not doing our job well if we're looking flustered around the kids, right? So we wanted to break that ice. So we could just walk up to her and say, "Hey, sister, I see these kids are keeping you busy." Just make a small joke so she could bring down her defense a little bit. And then we ask because um, we may not necessarily know how to take care of special needs kids and don't know how to go directly to the special needs kids. We'll ask, so tell me which one of these kids can I help you with? So that she knows, okay, we're here. What do you need help with? We don't know. If it's in any capacity, let's know. And then the next thing would be once, if she's welcome to it, yes. Once she settles in and we settle down, we can just chat her up and let her know what activities we have at the masjid from time to time for kids. So she feels welcome and she knows that she will have the support of the community when she does come for this kind of activities and taking care of the kids. So that's where we left ours. So
and that can mean the world to someone suffering. I mean, I see lots of mamas here. When somebody, instead of walking past us, when we have our hands full and our kids are all a mess, right? And if somebody's like, "Oh, you're doing good. How can I help you?" It can mean the world. And so for these moms and dads with special needs kids, when we offer this help, when we ask them how they're doing, it can mean the world. That's beautiful. Okay. So going to scenario 4. You are at a community talk on overcoming grief from an Islamic perspective. It's a great speaker from out of town, so you arrive early and find a good place to sit. You see people hurriedly packing their kids into babysitting and finding their seats. Can everybody hear me? Yeah? Okay. A woman enters the hall with her daughter, who looks about 9 years old, holding her hand tightly. She does not pick her child into babysitting, but instead brings her with her and sits near the aisle a few rows down. The child is playing on her iPad. A few minutes into the talk, her child starts to make repetitive noises. People turn to look. Her mom pats her on the back gently. The child appears restless and starts to pace back and forth in the aisle. A woman comes from the back and asks the mother to take her child out of the room, telling her that babysitting is available. The woman protests gently, but then looks around and gets up and tugs her daughter out of the room. You feel bad. You're pretty sure the child has special needs, not wanting to be intrusive, you frown, shrug your shoulders, and redirect your attention to the talk. Who has scenario 4 and would like to share? I see a hand back here, and I see a hand over here as well.
So um, in that situation, I think that before when the second woman came up, uh, so so in that scenario, uh, when the second woman came up to the mother with the special needs, we could get up and go to her and let her know that, oh, the reason why the mom is staying near the aisle with her child in the hall, in the lecture hall, is because the child needs to be by the mom and is a special needs child. And I think the situation in that scenario, the woman that went to the mom did not know that the child has special needs. And we are the third party that knew that the child has special needs. So we can educate the second woman that, oh, this is the reason why. But there are scenarios where the women's mind are made up, like, oh no, your child is disruptive, oh, she has special needs, she needs to leave. And when the mother of the child with special needs leaves, which I should get up and talk to her down the hall, maybe up in the hallway, and let her know that, oh, how can I help you? I understand what you're going through. And let her also know that a lot of our community members, they do not understand what it takes to have a child with special needs. So that's what I think. And I also think that in some of these situations, I think what we are doing right now, talking about special needs, is what we all need as a community to understand that um not to understand that most of the people that have special needs around us, they are not physical needs. Because in our culture, particularly when we think of special needs, we're always thinking of people that are hard of hearing, um, that have eyesight impairment. You know, those are the people that comes to mind, or physical um, needs, special needs. We don't think of mental health issues, or even just something that we might not even be able to understand. You know, so I think the education what we are doing right now is a good beginning for this kind of scenario to educate the community that when we see um, a woman with a child with special needs, or they didn't take their children to daycare, for example, that daycare right now for this program, some people might just choose not to take their kids to daycare, not because they have special needs. So, and some might not even know daycare existed. So, may Allah make it easy for us.
That's a great point. You said educate and empathize. So educating those who don't know and then empathizing. Yes, sister, this is going to be our last one. Uh-huh.
I feel like to start with,
Let's give our sister some attention. This is our last one, so let's give all our attention.
I feel like to start with, the masjid should have been more inclusive. So they should have thought of children with special needs in the first place. And when that woman had went up to the mother to tell her to bring her child outside, I feel like she should have been more considerate and thought of what the mother had to say, because the mom did kind of say no and have her reasons as to not bringing her child to daycare. So I feel like she should listen to her. And yeah.
Thank you. Yes. So, it's important that we're not judging others, even the ones who don't understand, having that positive intent, and then educating and empathizing. So, to kind of close our program, these are the key takeaways. People who have disabilities, each of their experiences are unique. They're different. If you feel like someone might need help, ask first. Never just assume someone has a disability because just because one person has one disability doesn't mean they have another one. For example, like I talked about my grandfather, right? He couldn't hear, but he didn't have a mental disability. And if you want to take anything away from today, then let's just take with us that people with disabilities are people just like you and me. So Jazakallah khair, everyone. I appreciate it. Thank you for
Alhamdulillah.
the warm welcome.
Alhamdulillah. Takbir. Takbir. Allahu Akbar. MashaAllah. Can we still have the candy? Can we pass them out? Can we pass up the candy? Yeah, I saw you brought them. We appreciate it. I'm gonna ask. Can I have a volunteer who can help me pass out the candy, please? That's the Selena brought. Yeah, please come on. Let me just pass it out to those. Yeah. There you go. Just pass it out. Alhamdulillah. May Allah bless all of you. Alhamdulillah. All right. So we really, really appreciate your time. Sister Zainab Khan, if you can please come on up too. And I'm going to invite Zainab Abdul to please come give us a gift, a token of appreciation. There you go. To please give us a token of appreciation to our guests because we really appreciate you coming out. We appreciate we appreciate you coming in. Hello, hi, Victor. Yeah. If you can come up here, please. Let me move up a little. Jazakumullah khairan. Thank you so much. We want to make sure we get a good picture. Let's get a good picture. There you go. Thank you so much. May Allah bless you and your families. We appreciate, we welcome you again to Masjid Mu'mineen. And the next time you come, inshallah, maybe we'll have some nice samalan. Yeah, we do the authentic jollof rice or fufu. MashaAllah, MashaAllah. Thank you so much.
And then lastly, if you guys know any families who do have a family member with disabilities, whether that be someone who's 2 years old, whether that be someone who's 30 years old, Lara Sakina does help support these families. So if you do know any, please come to back to the table and grab a brochure for me. It's for services. We help them in schools. We help them with funding medical equipment. We help them with counseling. So if you guys know any families, please let them know about us because we're really here to help serve the community. Thank you so much for your time today. Jazakallah.
Well, Jazakumullah khairan. All right. Thank you so much. Alhamdulillah. Sister Zainab, here's your laptop. Oh, we do have brochures back here if you want to grab one, inshallah. Moving on to the next item. Sister Zainab, there you go. Don't forget this. All right, moving on to the next item on the agenda. I would like to invite members from our community to share. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. To give us a more extensive details into today's topic. I really appreciate those of you who shared your thoughts in the scenarios. May Allah bless you, inshallah. So without further ado, oh, thank you. We're moving it out the way, huh? Okay. All right. Yeah, I do. I do. I do. Yeah, we feel bad for those who may not have been able to understand English fluently. And so, inshallah, the next segment, we're going to try to incorporate both English and Yoruba as much as possible. So I want to invite to the high table for our panel discussion. Okay? And this is going to be, thank you so much. Appreciate it. So please, as they come up, we also have a video we're going to show on the screen. We have a video we're going to show on the screen to highlight today's event. So if I can please have if I please have Dr. Zainab Yusuf coming up here, join us for the panel. If I can also have Mrs. Basira Chitu to please come on up and join us. And if I can also have Mrs. Amina Tuyevamiji. These are the three panel members we're going to have on today's panel. Yes. All right, but in the meantime, as they're coming up, I want everybody to please pay close attention to the screen. So one more time, Tanvir. Oh, Akbar. I see some people talking. All right, so we want to make sure. Thank you so much, Jazakumullah khairan, Dr. Yusuf, Jazakumullah khairan, Sister Yevamiji, and Mr. Shifu. Shh, shh. One house, please, one house. One house. So, all right. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Wa salatu wa salam ala Rasulillah. I'm going to invite our Imam, Dr. Abdulrahman Adeshima, to give a quick summary of what just happened. All right. In Yoruba specifically, this is a Hafiz who memorized the Quran, but he was born with, who can tell me what's his, say that again, autism, right? And he was still able to memorize the Quran. And you can hear Allah Akbar. You can hear from the way he's talking, from the way he is interacting, and it just goes to show a lot of things. So I would invite Dr. Adeshokar to please give us a quick summary before we get into today's panel, inshallah, specifically in Yoruba.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ohun tí a wò tán nísìnyí, ẹ̀kọ́ ńlá ló jẹ́ fún gbogbo wa. Ìpè yìí tí Ọlọ́run bá ní kí test yẹn kó ṣẹlẹ̀ sí, kí ọmọ wọn tó ní autism àbí kó wà challenge in any way, a gbọ́dọ̀ lose hope, a gbọ́dọ̀ sọ wípé ó ti tán nìyẹn, a gbọ́dọ̀ fún wọn ní gbogbo attention tó bá yẹ. Ọmọ tá a wò tán yìí, ó há odidi Al-Quran sórí. Débi pé wọ́n ń test ẹ̀, wọ́n ń béèrè questions láti oríṣiríṣi angles up and down. Eléyìí ẹ̀kọ́ ló jẹ́ fún wa. Scenario kẹrin tí wọ́n fún wa lẹ́ẹ̀kan tí wọ́n pè fún wa nípa pé ẹnìkan wọlé, instead tó ju ọmọ rẹ̀ sí babysitting room, ó dì mọ́wọ́ débi kó mú jókòó lẹ́gbẹ̀ẹ́. Ó lè gbé iPad fọmọ ẹ̀ tó fi ń ṣeré. Nígbà tó yá, ọmọ yẹn ò lè control ara ẹ̀ mọ́ bí tó ń pẹ̀lú tó ṣẹlẹ̀ sí. Àwọn tó bá wà lẹ́yìn wọn sọ pé sẹ́ẹ̀lì fún wọn lọ́dẹ kẹrin ẹgbẹ́ lọ́dẹ kẹà ẹ̀kọ́ ńlá lélẹ́yìí jẹ́ fún wa nígbà òyà ti sọ wípé tí wọn náà rí tó ṣẹlẹ̀ sí onítìwá bínú jáde mọ ẹ̀ jáde ó lè ṣẹlẹ̀ sẹ́nikẹ́ni káwọn ìsìláàmù ní àwọn alàlùbírì wà tákùwà ẹ hẹ́pù ara yín ẹ sọ̀pọ̀tì ara yín lórí gbogbo tí méjì dáadáa àti ìbẹ̀rù ọlọ́run ìyí tó ṣẹlẹ̀ sẹ́ni yẹ kò sẹ́ni tí ò lè ṣẹlẹ̀ sí bẹ́ẹ̀ ni tá a bá rírú ẹ̀ ẹ má fojú yẹpẹrẹ wò wọ́n ẹ má fojú pé ta ló pẹ́ sí wàhálà ẹ má fi wò wọ́n ẹ fà wọ́n mọ́ra ẹ jẹ́ káwọn ọmọ ẹgbẹ́ pé ẹ fà wọ́n mọ́ra ẹ jẹ́ káwọn òbí ẹ̀ tẹ̀ kó rí wípé ẹ fà wọ́n mọ́ra kọ́lọ́kọ́ ọ̀pẹ̀lẹ̀ kọ̀ọ̀kan wà sọ́ọ̀lì.
Warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. All right, next, we want to hear a little bit about our panelists today. So I'm going to pass the mic from Mrs. Tutu in 2 minutes or less. Just tell us a little bit about yourself and why we're here today. And we'll pass it on to the next person.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Um, my name is Asra Shitu. I'm originally from Lagos State. I have a child that is, alhamdulillah, that is a special ability. He was actually diagnosed as young as since when he was born. So I believe we started having the challenges from Nigeria before we came in 1999. Um, I remember I was taken to Lutz and they were about to do some operation on him. Alhamdulillah, one of my dad's friend is a medical doctor. He works in Lutz. I was like, no, I hear you just had a little lottery. You're going to go to America. Don't let any precious child take him along with you, and you're going to get some of the services when you get there. So, moving 1999, and the roller coaster from Bensor, everyone there, brain scans, CT scan, all kind of diagnosis. So eventually he was diagnosed with severe autism. But I went to take it. I was able to deal with it. I gave him full support we can, and I keep on dealing with it every day by day. It's hard, but alhamdulillah, at 16 months, Shamsuddin was not talking. But right now, if you sit down with him, it's like a parrot. Alhamdulillah. He wasn't talking, he wasn't walking at 16 months. I know we came in at 16 months because it was a year plus when we got him. So he was quickly referred by Bensop to early childhood intervention. And we started the journey from at 2.5 years old. He was already in the school system for special need. I never gave up. I never gave up. Even during those periods, the social worker will ask me, do you want to give him up to the state? I say, no, where I'm coming from, we don't give up our child. So, alhamdulillah, right now, those people that knew Shamsuddin when he just got here, they can testify now it's a lot of improvement in him. If you don't sit down with him, you can know there is a little bit of disability. Yes, he still have the speech impairment and a little bit of cognitive impairment. So, Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alameen.
Jazakumullah khair. Thank you so much, man. We're going to hear more from you, inshallah. We also want to hear from Dr. Yusuf.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي امري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. So I'm known in the community. My name is Zainab Yusuf. Um, let's see. Well, it's been a journey, but the reason why we are here today is because um, we are trying to bring awareness to our community about our children, about our siblings, about our friends' kids, you know, for the grandparents, about their grandkids. So that's why we're here today. We're here today to talk about a topic that we don't want to talk about, that we all shy away from. Knowing the fact that, yes, we come from a background where things like this are never talked about, but the world is changing. Everything is changing, right? So we need to be able to talk about it so that we can help and address the issues that families may be going through, and so that everybody can also be aware. That's not right.
Jazakallah khair. Thank you so much, Dr. Yusuf. We're going to hear from Mrs. Oyemaji.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
I'm fortunate to be on this panel because I'm a special education teacher, and I found myself in this particular position due to coincidence and curiosity. Because, like, where we came from, when I first got here, like, when I went to the education system and I saw the population of the special education, and also there were no, the vacancy was too much. There was nobody that wants to take up the job. So that's the reason why I took it upon myself to be able to contribute the little portion that I can do. And since I started, I never looked back. And I am still there to today. And since I started, I've always worked with kids with autism. And we have different level of autism, level one, two, and three. Level one being mild and level three being severe. And I've always been in level three class. So that's the reason why I'm here.
MashaAllah. Wa yakum, wa yakum. Takbir. Allahu Akbar. You can hold on to the mic. We're going to show a quick video up here. I want everyone to please pay close attention. All right, we're going to show a quick video. We're going to get it started, inshallah. While the video is getting ready, here we go.
Go. One, two. Let's go. Let's get one more. Three. Let's get one more. Oh, too easy, huh? Last one. Let's see if we can make 5 in a row. Oh, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. MashaAllah. Takbir. Allahu Akbar. Takbir. Allahu Akbar. MashaAllah. So that is Shamsuddin. All right. May Allah bless him. May Allah bless all of us and all of our children. Alaja Kala Rafan one year. MashaAllah. Nígbà tí mo yẹ kí ni ìsìn ayé ń tó lọ́ba ń kí wá sọ pé tí wọ́n fẹ́ tẹ́sí lọ́pọ̀ wá basketball ni, right? That's what you love to do. And I will share quickly before we get into the first question. And the first question that will throw to the panelists: what can we, what are some accommodations we can express for people with special needs, either for the individuals themselves and also for their families? We'll get into that. But before we do that, I was going to share something real quick. Shamsuddin was one of my students at Masjid Hamza, right? We used to learn Quran together. MashaAllah. Thank you so much. Alhamdulillah. MashaAllah. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Continue. Okay. So, and one of the interesting things about Shamsuddin is he knows the drill. And I think the speaker earlier said about routine. He knows that Mr. Hamza, you come early, you do your lesson, you get to go play basketball. And that was Shamsuddin's motivation. If he comes, Mubarak, can I leave now? It's very sweet. And it's because if you realize, it's like I've done my part, boom, he's going to the next intro. You can leave him, we can leave him. He's going to trash them. All right? And that's another thing too. We also learn. Actually, I was telling my wife that to learn to be patient, Shamsuddin was one of those who helped me become more patient. Because, and we have a teacher on the panel so she can share her experience. Every other student, you can deal with them. Okay, I have 5 minutes to teach you Quran. Shamsuddin, because and I learned this too as a teacher, he prefers if you're his friend versus his teacher. So when Shamsuddin and I got closer, he wants to tell me everything, right? And I'm like, okay, all right. I have to teach the next student, right? But he reads one page or one line and is getting ready to tell me the next thing he wants to tell me about. But that was so beautiful about him. And I'll add one last thing to Shamsuddin. Shamsuddin does not get mad easily, from my experience. Am I right about that? Right? Shamsuddin, wallahi al-azim, I mentioned Hamza, he knew. I do not like anybody getting on his nerves because he will tolerate anything. But once you hit that button with Shamsuddin, I have to get up and tell him, okay, 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 it's okay, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. So may Allah bless him. And I also want to give a shout out to his dad. His dad will always bring him when it's time for Salah. His dad will stay next to him. So may Allah bless all of our parents. May Allah bless all of our children. May Allah bless all of our families. So with that being said, I'm gonna go to who has the mic. All right, there you go. So you get to go first. The first question is, what techniques can I use to provide accommodation and modification for students or children with special needs? And I'll come to you next, inshallah. Okay, go ahead. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa
The,
rahmatullah.
the first thing is to know the child. Like it's has been said, each child is different. They have different needs and they have different learning types. And before I even go in, we have to know what's the meaning of accommodation. These are the changes, that these are some of the changes that are available in order to overcome or work around the stability in order for that child to be able to achieve his or her goals or objectives. While modification is the total, and accommodation are usually physical or environmental. So it can be as little as moving the child from one seat to another because maybe there's a lot of distraction over there, or it can be also be like enlarging the text, or it can also be like pencil grip. So accommodation is very broad. While modification is the entire change to the content that the child has to learn. So, for example, those the kids, some of our special needs kids in the general ed classroom have been provided with accommodation in order for them to be able to achieve their study goals because they work like they do the things that the kids in the general ed classroom does. But kids in my classroom, because there is a total change into the content of what they are supposed to learn. So when we talk about kids in my classroom, we talk about modification. So in order to know what kind of accommodation or modification is to be provided to the child, you have to know what kind of disability it is and how severe or how mild is it. Before we bring the child into my kind of classroom, the least restrictive environment has to be offered first. That is the general classroom. And if we determine that it's not beneficial and the child is not really making progress, then we can talk about switching placements. That's when we talk about my classroom, which is rich in early and also life skills. So we have to know the child first before we think about the kind of accommodation. And also after knowing the child, that's when we know which accommodation is suitable for that child. There are some kids, they have they need maybe text to speech, and another kid may need speech to text. So, a child that has speech impairment, you can offer speech to text to that child because it won't be able to like dictate what you wants to write. But you can actually offer text to speech that the computer can actually read to the child in order for the child to participate in whatever activities is being provided. So
MashaAllah.
thank you.
Jazakumullah khairan. Moving on. Go ahead, Dr. Yusuf.
Okay, so Salam Alaikum. Just to add to what Amina has just said, know the child. I love that point because sometimes when we think of disability, we think of something so severe, but to be honest with you, with our kids who are in general education, sometimes a mother has a child and the child is just excessively not, that's how we call it in Nigeria. Say, "Ah, this child is so not, he doesn't sit, he's not able to focus in class. The teachers complain. but the child is in general ed. We all look at that child as, this my son, he's so stubborn. But we don't think of, okay, could it be that this child has ADHD? Is it possible? We don't even think of that. But I just wanted to bring that to everyone's light. To also, those are very, very small cues that can point to you as a parent, as a grandparent, as a sibling, to go like, some mothers, I had a friend of mine, she had a baby, we just went for a baby shower, and then she just happened to complain that this son is always so active. He doesn't sit down. He's always all over the place, jumping around. You know, Years later, she now got the diagnosis of autism, but she would never have thought about it. So I just want to bring that to light.
Mashallah. Jazakumullah khairan. Do you want to add something on the
Yeah,
topic?
in regards to her condition, our kids are different. They are from my autistic level to this severe autistic level. So you just have to understand their individual functional level for you to be able to tackle their problem individually. There is no specific schedule in the school system for each child. They might be in the same life field, or they have different IEP. It's called individualized educational program. So each child IEP is totally different. They might be in the same class. It does not mean they have the same uh, level of education. That's
Mashallah. Jazakumullah khairan. Moving on to Dr. Yusuf, quick question. From the last time you've been here, uh, you were actually told about the possibility of having a special needs child from pregnancy. So the focus here is what gives you the confidence to still go ahead and have that baby?
Mashallah. Well, that's a great question. And so, what gives me the confidence? So, to answer your question, I first of all want to say Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen,
Alhamdulillah.
because I was fortunate enough to know way before time that I was gonna have a special needs kids. So when I was pregnant, they told me your blood levels are abnormal. It shows that you're gonna have a child with trisomy 21, which is Down syndrome, and also she had some additional genetic disability, which was triple X. And Alhamdulillah, Almighty Allah is merciful. We talk to family and friends, and myself and my husband, Allah bless him, he's a wonderful person.
I mean,
So we decided that this is what Allah has destined. Allah has chosen us as a parent for this child, and Alhamdulillah, we'll pray to Almighty Allah to make it easy for her and for us. So, and Almighty Allah has been so merciful. Now, to that point, I say again, Alhamdulillah, we were very fortunate to know beforehand. A lot of families don't know. They have a child, normal pregnancy, everything goes well. They have a baby, everybody's happy, we do the akika, and then, you notice about 15, 16 months, the child is still not walking, still not talking, but the mother is like, okay, well, it's with time, we'll talk, and then at 2 years, 2.5, 3 years, you begin to notice some things in your child. Again, I'm talking about this because I want to educate everybody. I want to educate our youth. I see some youth in the room. I want them to, to have this knowledge and have this idea. Not everybody you see, okay, well, this person is normal. No. I want you to have that sensitivity. Just like my kids, they're growing up, they understand, they know that people are different. So they're already sensitized. So I'm bringing this up so that everybody can, just understand that they, just to know. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Jazakumullah khairan. I'll ask you two question for you. And I also want to ask this, hopefully in your about for the audience to benefit from. How does having this situation in the family affect the entire family as a whole? For example, Shamsuddin has an older brother, right? So báwo ni situation yìí, báwo la ṣe lè manage it in the family as a whole?
uh, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Um, You want me to say it in Yoruba?
Whatever you're comfortable with.
Okay, okay. It's very challenging
That's what she's comfortable with.
and it's very, very time consuming, draining, but with everybody's help and support, you get things done. I wasn't left alone. My husband is very supportive, and his brother was helping. So I feel a community member that knew me when I was going to nursing school. Do give me the full support in taking care of. It's great.
About how long ago did you go to nursing school?
2007.
Was he born then?
Yes.
Okay, so
Today
how old?
was born
How old?
1998.
Good, good,
He's gonna be terrible.
good. Shamsuddin was born 1998. Okay, so you were actually going to nursing school while raising Shamsuddin along with Abidin. Okay, go ahead.
Along with Abidin. But one thing I knew as I feel like when I stepped into this country,
Yeah.
I said something that I know if I have not said it, maybe you will have a junior brother. When I got into this country, I look at the scenario and look at the environment. Because back home in Nigeria, I have family support, I have house help before I even came here. And I look at the whole thing, I was like, maybe it's more better than you. That's what I feel like I wish I have not said it, but I surely did say made that statement,
Understood.
which is
What
it is
motivated you to actually go to nursing school?
initially I really wanted to be a nurse from Nigeria, but my mom was like, no, you can't be a nurse. But when I got here and I look at the situation and I'm getting too deep into his care, so I felt like I really want to be able to care for my child. I don't want to put all his care in somebody's hand. So that was one of my main things that I quickly get into nursing program.
MashaAllah. Thank you so much for that. Let me give the mic to Shamsuddin, please. Shamsuddin, how are you doing?
Good.
Good. Tell us, how old are you now?
Careful.
Good. What high school did you graduate from? Well, put the mic up so we can all hear.
Good.
Good. And did you have friends when you were in high school?
No.
Okay. How about when you were at Masjid Hamza? What do you like to do on what do you like to do to have fun from time to time? What do you like to do?
Help.
Good. What else do you like to do for fun?
Games.
Good. What kind of games do you like?
Waiting game.
Good. Okay, good. So here's what's interesting, right? His mom already heard what he said. I was about to follow up with, can you repeat that? Because I didn't hear what he said, but he said what? Racing games. All right. Do you like 2K? No? You don't like 2K? Why not? You like Madden? You do like Madden, huh? Okay, good. You like the tackle and stuff? Did you play any sports in high school? No? Put the mic up, okay? So after school, whenever school was done, would you always get picked up or would you hang out with some friends from time to time?
Picked up.
You always get picked up? Okay. Um, go ahead. Go ahead.
This is the most challenging part. After school is really, really challenging. Kids with special ability max out of school at age 22. 22. So he maxed out of school after school.
What do you mean? You said maxed out of school?
Yes. So supposedly at age 18, average student will have graduated from high school. But because of their inability and intellectual disabilities, they are given the opportunity to stay longer in school till age 22. So after that, you're on your own. And that's where the most challenging part begins. So at this point, during COVID, it was really, really challenging. He doesn't have nowhere to go. It's boring. Mommy, can we go out? Can we do this? But we can't go out. But alhamdulillah, right now, on a weekly basis, Shamsuddin gets to leave the house from Monday to maybe except Tuesday. Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. The Friday, no matter what I do, he has to go to the Jumat.
Okay.
He will go. No matter what, I have to take him. Even if I can't, I will. Even if I work night, I have to wake up and take him to Jumat.
Mm.
So Mondays it goes to Texana. So there is another program, Texana, which is available for Fort Bend residents. So it goes to Texana on Monday from he has a it's called a money management class. He likes to learn. So he goes to Texana on Monday from 5 to 6 p.m. And that is in Fushia. I live in Richmond. Alhamdulillah.
About how many minutes drive is that?
22, 25, depending on the time, the traffic time. Fushia, driving that alternative 90, 1093 down 99 is always construction. So Tuesday is on computer class on Zoom from what is 5 to 6 on computer class. He has a computer training.
Let's pause on that for a minute. Zoom class?
Yes.
Okay, so from your experience in his situation compared to other children, how does that play out being on Zoom where the instructor is on the other side of the
Yes,
world?
it's a lot of distraction for him because of his inability to concentrate. So sometimes I have to take his cell phone away from him just for him to stay focused. So it's really a struggle. So I think that's one of those main things. So on Wednesdays, he goes in the morning for dancing class.
What kind of dance?
Well, I just have to get him out of the house
That's good.
because he's not working and he's not functioning at the same level as his age. So anything to get him out of the house, to get him socialized is what I'm doing. I really don't like that dancing. He's shy. So he's going to that class, also in Texana in Fushia, from 10 to 11. And Wednesday again in the evening from 4:30 or 5. No, 4 to 5:30. He goes for social class again. And on Thursdays is the basketball class. It is Alhamdulillah. One of the brother that is coaching him is one of our community member. So he's a private tutor and he goes to fitness connection on Highway 6. So on Thursday he goes to that one from like 4 to 5:30. And Friday definitely Jumat.
Wow. Jazakumullah khairan. All right. So I want to come to Dr. Yusuf for similar activities, keeping the children busy, similar to your other children. And I want to come to you eventually about lesson plan from your experience with teaching, inshallah. Here you go, Dr. Yusuf. And we're going to take questions, inshallah. So in a minute, I'm going to bring the mics over to the audience. We can ask some questions and try to have a little bit of discussion. Go ahead, Dr. Yusuf.
Okay, so in terms of keeping Amani busy, Jazakallah khair. So autism is it's quite different from Down syndrome. Down syndrome, they also range from very severe to mildly severe. Um, she has an IQ of about 70, so she's able to function. She has a speech impairment. You have to really listen hard to understand what she's saying, and sometimes she gets frustrated. She goes like, "Mommy, this is what I'm trying to tell you." But yeah, um, so she goes.
How do you respond when she does that?
Oh, I just call her sisters. I just call them. I tell them, Radia, Rita, what is Mani trying to say? They understand her more than I.
How does that work?
I don't. I don't know. They understand sometimes what she's saying, and mommy doesn't.
Wow.
Yeah.
Go
So
ahead.
that happens a lot. They're always around her, very supportive around her. So, and then they have their talk, they have their own thing that they do together as sisters. So she is able to sit down on an iPad. She's able to have Zoom meetings with her teachers. She's able to wash dishes. She's able to take her bath, do her regular, and then she comes once she's done. She comes and tells me, "Mommy, I did it. I did it." So she wants that praise every time she does something. Oh, good job, you did it. And then she goes to her dad, "I did it. I took a bath. I did it." So, they're wonderful. Mashallah, may Allah continue to bless all our kids.
I mean, and how old is she?
Now she's 11. And I think maybe one thing that I just want to add at this point, again to the community, um, you know, when I was pregnant with her and we found out, I know I'd mentioned this before, one thing that they really emphasized at the hospital, and they kind of talked about it, is the high rate of divorce and separation in the home. And this is actually happening within our community as well, and within the U.S. as a large. Yeah. So I would really want to focus my talk to the dads in the house. We as the mothers, we have this huge attachment to our kids, having carried your kids, your child for 9 months. It's so hard for a woman to, you just can't give up on your kid. And likewise, the dads, a lot of dads who just can't give up. But most of the time when I talk to people, because I'm also an educator, I have trainees who also I train on special education. A lot of time when I have my trainees and we talk, the husbands leave. That's every time. That's what I hear. Oh, my husband left. We struggled and struggled with it. My husband walked out. And it hurts to find out, that the men are selfish because they leave. And it's really hard on the women. So one thing that I also try to encourage is for a mother who has a special need, if the special need is the first child, I know it's hard, it's difficult, but I try to encourage them to have more children. When you have more kids, it helps to balance that, that deficiency that the man might be feeling. Because a man wants his son to go to school to become, a hafiz. A man wants his son, the man wants his daughter to be a doctor, to be this, to be that, you know. So the men always feel that deficiency whenever they have a child with a disability. Oh, I'll never see my child get married. I can never see my child become independent. I have a very good friend of mine. They started out so well, husband, wife, subhanallah, the husband walked out of the marriage. I try to encourage her, can you have another kid just to give that balance at home so that he can have something that, to look forward to. Of course, he looks forward to his special needs, but then he knows that he has this other normal child that, without a disability that, they can go to basketball together, they can do things, you know, that a father would do with their kids. The mothers, oh, whatever it is, disabled, not disabled, we mothers we can always manage. But the men are different. Please, please, if you have friends, if you have families, talk to them about this. The, if the special needs child is the first, they would always tell you it's difficult. I can't have another. I can't. I don't know what my other child is gonna look like. The same thing with me. Amani was my second child. She was born with Down syndrome, but we didn't stop at that. I said, for me, the way I look at it is, I'm not going to live here, and I pray that my children outlive me, so she can have the support from the sisters. I don't know if it's the first one who would take her in and love her, with her, her younger sisters who will love her, but she has that support from her siblings. So please, if you know families going through this, I think it's hard. We going through it, it's hard, but it helps balance the family. Jazakumullah khair.
Wayakum. And moving on to Sister Boundary. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. We appreciate it. May Allah bless you. May Allah bless all of our families. And may Allah keep our family unit strong together. Ameen. Ya Rabbal Alameen. Go ahead.
Okay, Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum
Before
salam.
I talk about the lesson plan, I want to talk about how important when families get the diagnosis, the first thing they do is to grieve. They tend to grieve what the child should have been. Because, we all have, we all have what we want our children to become. But once you get the diagnosis and you know, okay, the child is different, the first thing they do is to grieve. And whenever they see the kids with other their age, they too tend to look like, oh, my child should be doing this, my child. Then after the grieving process comes the guilt. What did I? Did I do something wrong? So that's why some of the services are available in schools are also counseling services for parents to be able to navigate through the situation. So Mihala help us because I have situation where I had a kid, like Dr. Zainab said, it's different for each different families. I have in my classroom right now two siblings with level 3 autism. And last year, I had a student who's the family, the mom, they had three kids, and all three kids had severe autism. Yeah. So situations like that happen. So may Allah help us.
I mean,
Then going to and one of my parents, because she couldn't process it, and she ended up having mental issues because she always look at, okay, this is, but because we are Muslims, we tend to have the courage that this is what Allah has destined for me, and it is a test from Allah, and Allah will ask me, how did I handle it? But some they are not equipped with that. So going to the lesson plan. Lesson plan helps teachers prepare for lessons in order to achieve the set goals. But yeah. But for special education, it requires more efforts because like we said, each child is different, and we have to differentiate instruction. For example, I might have right now I have different kids. My class might have kids from ranging from kinder to third grade. And my kinder student, they are higher than my kids in second grade. But even my kids in first grade, they are on different academic levels. So I have to differentiate instruction. For example, if I want to, let's say I want to teach alphabets, all I have to do with one child is just to show flashcards, like okay, and he will be able to answer me. But I cannot apply that to another child. Another child, I have to use maybe the sandpaper. The sandpaper. We have letters like that because of the sensory inputs. I have to use that to teach them. And another child, it doesn't work for another child. Another child, I have to use more sensory input like rice and put letters in the rice. So the child will have the child for the letter, and the child will look for the letters in the rice. The child will be thinking it's fun, but me, I know it's fun, but actually he's learning. So that's how you make learning fun. And also, you have to take into consideration their learning styles. We have some children, they are auditory. You have to tell them is, all you have to do is tell them, verbally prompt them, and they know what to do. But some kids, you have to actually show them what to do before they can even get the concept. And so we call them the visual learners. And also we have the kinesthetics learners. They have to be hands-on. So right now, sorry, I'm a teacher. So for example, and also we have a lot of visual support. Okay, so this one is for a kid with autism. Trust me, this you might be looking at what is this? A child can play with this for 1 hour, just looking at it like, okay, what's going on? What's going on? So another thing is, for example, there are some things that we take for granted. Our kids, you don't even have to tell some kids before they know how to zip up, button up, zip up. But for kids, you actually have to model. You have to show. And as simple as but unzipping and your dress, it can take another child like it can take a child like a week to master. So we have different, like for a child that has to do with hands-on, you have to use different materials, and also with different, like out of all these, you can even like this one tying of shoelaces is actually difficult. So with this one, we can actually go to task analysis. I'm sorry. That task analysis, that's for example, show write different steps on how to on how to tie your shoelaces. For example, this is a task analysis that I'm going to the toilet. You are thinking, "Eh, just ask the child to go to the toilet." No, they can't. You have to show them. You have to show them the steps. And trust me, once they master the steps, you cannot one day say, "Oh, since you're not potty trained, you don't have to go through the don't have to go through all the steps. Oh, you're looking for World War III." The child he will tell you, "No, this is how I have to go through it," because the way the process information is different. And also, there's a lot of visuals in my classroom is really really important. So I visuals about can you help me? Oh, visuals about these are behavioral activities like telling them to stop, telling them to turn on the light or turn off the lights, and count to 10. Sometimes I will explain this in a little bit. So we have different. This is like a communication board because I have some kids that they are smart but they can express themselves. So you need visuals for them, to be able to communicate. Like I've been doing this for so long, so my kids, I know all their non-verbal cues. I can actually look at the child and know, okay, this is what the child needs at this time. So we have to. So these are important. We don't use it like if this is in the raw form, but for a child, I have to cut it out and actually make a schedule out of it because individual schedule is really important. And also they have to know. And we don't really. You don't have to use a lot of words in the classroom because it takes them time to process. So all you have like this line up when we live in the room. I don't have to talk. Once I show them this, they know what to do. They know it's time to line up. They know where to get that transitioning rope and all of that. So,
MashaAllah. Jazakumullah khairan. Take me here. Allah Akbar. I really want to give a shout out to all of our panelists, specifically Sayyid Amiji, especially for the short notice. May Allah reward you. May Allah bless you. We're gonna take quick questions and answers, inshallah. Before we do that, I also want to share something real quick. Here, thank Jazakumullah khairan. Sister Zainab Khan also in the back. She also has. We know we have TTY here, right? She also is a part of Pearland Islamic Center. They have a weekend school that's specifically designed, and I'll let actually talk about it.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
So I wanted to tell you guys a little bit about the Sunday schools that we run. So in the community, we actually have Sunday schools that are designed for children with disabilities. So the way that it works is we actually wrote the entire curriculum ourselves. We print the books ourselves. They're very interactive, and each of our students actually receives an intern that they work with. And so each student with a disability kind of has this buddy, this mentor, this friend in the classroom when they're in our Sunday schools. And so they come every single week. They learn about Quran, they learn about wudu, they learn about namaz, they learn about what it means to be a good Muslim, and they learn just that they're welcome in the community, that they're welcome in the masjid. So we have an amazing program at Pearland Islamic Center. We also have one at Brandley Islamic Center or Masjid Sabri. We have one in the north at Champions Islamic Center or Masjid Salam. And then we have one at Al Farouk, which is in the Ilm Academy space. So these are really, really great programs,
Yes.
and they're for ages all the way from when students start enrolling at 4 years old, all the way to about 15. And then we also have another program, which is called our Teen and Adult Program, and it's for adults and teens with disabilities. So we start enrolling with that from 15 all the way. I think our oldest participant right now is 33 years old. And we kind of teach them life skills. We teach them about Quran. We teach them about how to make friends, and we give them a safe space to do things like that.
Inshallah. Jazakumullah khairan. Thank you so much. Quick show of hands. For the adults in this room today, raise your hand. In your own workplace, where you work, you know someone with some form of special need or disability. Just by a show of hands. Okay. All right. Good. Mashallah. One of my takeaway from this is many of us we come to the masjid on Saturdays, and I used to teach at TTY. And for the adult to come for Salatul Dhuhr, it's interesting when you see the kids running around. For these masajid that she's talking about, I want you to just imagine walking into this masjid where you have students with special needs, and the amount of quote unquote chaos is on a different level. So it's really important for us as a community to be at least aware about these situations because the teacher would do their job, the moms would do their job, the fathers would do their job. But as a community members, if you don't know what's going on and you walk into, you're like, whoa, what is going on here? Right? So let's all keep this in mind. There's also volunteer opportunities. Taking questions. One of the last point I want to mention. Anybody who has a question, by the way, questions. We have one. Please let me give him the mic. Questions. Two. I'm giving numbers so we can quickly move on and wrap up. You have a question. Number three, and we're gonna take four and five. We're gonna take five, inshallah. If we have time, we'll move on to more. If there's any last points you want to mention on our panels, you can do that, inshallah. Let's go with question number one.
Alaikum.
Alaikum salam. Allah.
Two questions, please. Number one, I have heard people say that the older a woman gets, the chances of the child having Down syndrome. How true is that? Number two, I have seen people say that when you come to the US and your child is diagnosed with ADHD, don't take the medications because if you do, your child becomes very slow. And also that there is a targeted attempt at black kids. So some kind of racial thing about diagnosing kids. How true is this and how can we educate people to not fail to get the right help when they need it?
Okay, Jazakumullah khairan. Thank you so much for that question. So to answer the first question, that is what the research has shown that a woman who is older than 35 and a man who is older than 35 as well, the chances of having a child with Down syndrome is higher than the general population. Okay, so the older we get, the sperm and the ova, they don't function as they used to. Okay, now things are actually changing. You find when I was when I had my child, my counselor who came to talk to me from the Down syndrome clinic, she was 25 years old when she had a child with Down syndrome. Most of the people I've talked to, it's a lot of them are actually below the age of 20 who now have a child with Down syndrome. So the research is actually changing. That was what we used to know maybe 10, 20 years ago. Now, to answer your next question, you want to take it?
To answer your ADHD question, you have to understand your own child. You can't take them off medication if they don't. If you in situation, alhamdulillah, Shamsiddin is off medications is almost 3 years now. He's not taking any medications anymore because I realized over the years, whenever he changes his medication, is every 6 months, is back to his normal routine, and I'm observing some adverse effects. So invariably, I was like, no, enough is enough. Because I know his functional level, that's why I stopped him from taking medications. But other kids, you might not have to. You just have to watch for the adverse effects of the medications. All these medications, give it, even ordinary things can develop from it. He was getting to that, which is like irreversible adverse effects. I was able to notice that because of my profession. If not, you just keep on popping this tablet into their mouth. You don't need it.
Yeah, so just to add to that, and so ADHD is a little different where you have a child who is hyperactive. So the medications, when they take them, they do slow them down a little bit so that they can function. And that's the reason why the medications are prescribed. Of course, they do have their side effects, and the medications are not giving, we try not to give them for long periods of time, but if your child needs that medication to be able to sleep at night, for you as a parent to be able to shut your eyes for a couple of hours and sleep at night, then give it. If they need it, to give it. If you feel, you don't have to, and your child is functioning fine, then take them off the medication. And then the last question was about not getting about the diagnosis, targeting the black people, racial minority about what? About diagnosis? I don't think so. Yeah. I don't think so. I can tell you for me, yeah, me being a black person, I think when we got the diagnosis, I think, coming from Nigeria, I think I got the best treatment for my daughter.
Assalamu alaikum. So the question the brother asks is about overrepresentation of blacks and Hispanics in special education. So that was a very big issue because if you look at the population of blacks in America compared to and Hispanics compared to whites, and we have most of the kids in special education. There are several factors because their counterparts have access to more resources. They caught the diagnosis early. They were able to help their children. Yes, compared to blacks. In fact, it was also a case. I don't know if you are conversant with IDEA law, that is Individual with Disability Education Act. It was a lawsuit where Hispanics, when they were tested, they were not tested in their native language, and because the students failed the test, so they were all put into special education. So that's a question that the brother asked is about our representation. We still have it, but the school system is trying their best in order to rectify the situation, and also try as much as possible to try to get here to classroom for the kids first before they because when we talk about special education, it's broad because I like to use I like to call our special kids exceptional children because these are they don't have learning and behavioral disabilities, physical disabilities, sensory impairment. Under that we have the gifted and also the kids that have special talents, and under the hydra we have 13 different categories of disability. We have autism, deaf blindness, deafness, visual impairment, specific learning disability. That's where dyslexia, dysgraphia, and dyscalculia comes under. And also we have orthopedic. We have several. And we also have other health impairment. That's where ADHD comes in, diabetes, cancer, kidney problem, or epilepsy, seizure, name it. So when we are talking about special education, we have to be specific. So thank you so much. Yes.
Assalamu alaikum. Yes. Assalamu alaikum. So I'm not sure. Well, this is a question, but I'm not sure if this is the right panel for it or if you have a professional in the house that can answer this question. So for me, I feel like a lot of adults that grow up in Nigeria, because among the laggy or you notice your child is very, very disruptive or just, oh, you're not do, he will come back from school and is always failing. And you wonder why this child is always failing. I have a very good friend who is a very successful physical therapist right now. All while he was going to school in Nigeria, he was the alone of the family. He had dyslexia, or what do you call it? He just couldn't read the way we read, right? And when he came here, um, after college, by the way, after university, so he was the Olodo all through university too. He simply had dyslexia, and now he's excelling. So I feel like a lot of us adults too, we a diagnosis may have been missed somewhere along the line. And for me, I try to be a businesswoman. I try to be a good worker at work. I can tell you if I test for ADHD, I probably have it. But we tend to shy from that. And I feel like it really doesn't help us because it only becomes a bigger struggle when we grow up, right? And if we do not get the help we need to help us learn how to cope with our disabilities, it only becomes a bigger struggle later in life. And it shows up not only at work, it shows up in your business if you're a business person, it shows up as a mother, it shows up as a parent, it shows up. So I feel like I just want to encourage people that having a disability is not if you need help and if you need medication for it, please, if you feel like you have it, I think I'm just going to test based on the talk because I can tell you I probably do. All right, so
Fáwọn tí bàbá mọ̀, first lady wà ní current first lady. Ìkéde tẹ̀sánwó fún
Number three, to cancer. I will talk about it, right?
Any
Yeah,
specific
yeah.
answer to that?
Okay.
Like you said, disability is not inability. You just have to tackle it. There's no specific answer to that.
Assalamu alaikum. Yeah, when Dr. Yusuf was talking, she said when she was pregnant, she was told by the doctor that the baby is going to come out clean. Oh, Imam, any fast in their place. If she went ahead and aborted the baby by then, what's the position before Allah? She, is she a sinner or Salah?
Now, Assalamu alaikum. It is true that Islam permits Muslims to abort such pregnancy at a certain stage. Let's say you are informed about it maybe a month after the pregnancy or some days after the pregnancy, you can abort it. Yeah, but after like 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 2 months, then you cannot abort it. And if you abort it by the time you're supposed to abort it, maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks after the pregnancy, there will be no sins because you have good reasons for that. It has to do with health reason. Kí ni mò ń sọ ni wípé téèyàn bá lóyún oyún bẹ́ẹ̀ tí wọ́n lè sọ fún un lápèjúwe pé ọmọ tó fẹ́ bí yìí bóyá kò ní wáyé àbí bóyá ó lè mẹ́mìí òbí lọ àbí tó bá tiẹ̀ wáyé wàhálà báyìí bẹ́ẹ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ ló máa go through. Ó láwọn stages tí ó lè wà. Àwọn ulama àwọn àfáà kan sọ wípé after the first 40 days or within the first 40 days tó sì wà ní nutfa tó wà ní semen ẹ lè abort ẹ̀. But tó bá ti ń lọ sí the second 40 days tó ti kọ́ ọmọ yẹn ti ń form then you cannot abort it. Àyàfi tó bá jẹ́ pé wọ́n sọ wípé o lè mẹ́mìí ẹni yẹn lọ. Okay, salaam alaikum.
Salaam alaikum. I want to add to what Imam has just said, please. Jazakallah khairan, sir. Thank you so much for that. So one thing I want to just to add to that is that, so when we found out at 15 weeks, there was already heartbeat. So that was one of our, major concerns. We know that Islamic perspective, once the heart starts to beat after 40 days, it's a viable life. And Islam does permit abortion even after the heart is beating, but there has to be a threat either to the life of the mother or the life of that child. That is when Islam actually permits the abortion. So if you're afraid that if the mother continues with this pregnancy, she's going to die, or if she continues with this pregnancy, there is a threat to the life of that child, then you have the permission to abort. We were not in that situation. There was no threat to my life. There was no threat to the life of the baby. So alhamdulillah, Allah guided us and we continued with it. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum. So I was just, listening here to you guys, just the wonders of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? So we're talking about social need kids. So we do know that there are families also that they deal with kids that they say they are geniuses, if you will, and they go through like their own issues or steps, right? To ensure that the kids they live normal life, right? So I don't know if anybody have gone through that personally here, right? They actually like they go to challenges as well, if you will, challenges quote unquote, because obviously every situation is different. So and I speak from personal experience as well, right? When they say that, oh, your child is a gifted child, right? And you know that you have to go through like certain steps and it can be overwhelming because you go through different stages, and just very similar, of course different from what you all have discussed. So From the educator point of view, I don't know if you guys have seen or anybody personal um, relative experience regarding that.
Okay. Jazakallah khairan for the question. Yes. Like when I define the exceptional children, I mentioned gifted and special, kids with special talent because they have their needs too. If you have a gifted, or if you have a gifted in your classroom, that's when because they are way above the other kids and they get bored easily. So you have to differentiate instruction for them. You have to cater for their needs. That's why there is also like under though it's not under special education, but that's also a program for the gifted and talented, where they take exams to determine if the child qualifies for uh, the program. Also, like like I said, we have different kinds. There are 5 different kinds of autism. Asperger's is one of them, and that's a very high functioning autism. You can have like last year, we had several valedictorian. That means they graduated at the top of their class, and they were all autistic. Yes. In fact, in Florida, the lady, she has non-verbal autism, and she was a valedictorian. So she has, from providing her speech, she has to use a special assistive technology device. Yes. So they all have, different. Okay, Sam
Right. So let me just go ahead and just to add to that real quickly. So when I had my first daughter, Ragia, I also had a friend who also had a child at the same time. She had a boy, and when he was about maybe 8 months or maybe 9 months, so she would tell me, "Oh, my child is able to memorize the whole alphabet." My child, and I go like, "Ah, my own child cannot read ABC." And then she goes like, "Oh, my child is able to do this and do that," and I was wondering what exactly is wrong with my child. But down the line, a couple of years later, she did get a diagnosis of autism and ADHD. Just to mention that.
Yeah. For most kids in special needs, they have their own IQ too. Because they're in special needs does not mean they are not intellectually gifted. Some of them are very, very smart. An example is that cafes that was shown earlier. If you tap into their how will I say it? They have their own gifted area. You just have to tap into it, figure it out, and you surely get the best out of them.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Syed Akbar Hashimi. I lived in Houston for 33 years and I see all these beautiful brothers and sisters from Nigeria. I have a very special announcement about two of the most important people in my life, my wife and my sister. My wife, she gave birth to the first child in 1985 as a C-section, my first son in India. Second child here, 1988, 87, and he is also a C-section. Third C-section, fourth C-section. At the time of fourth child, I did consult with Mother Islami Iqbal, Mufti Iqbal. He said yes. At the third or second a month of pregnancy, no need for abortion. Now let me talk about her situation. She is, alhamdulillah, happy, alhamdulillah, a little healthy. She had two more operations, which are the hysterectomy, and also she had for 2 months intubation. So a woman, if and when she wants to survive, if she has the right kind of attitude and with help and trust in Allah, she can definitely survive. That's my own number one witness. Now let me talk about my sister, and that's the second good example in my life. The reason for me to come from New York to Houston is because my sister was giving birth to a child in 1988. The child and the mother, both the situation was very, very, very precarious. Either the child was going to be dead, or maybe the mother would be dead. So it was a very, 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 very difficult decision for all of us. We were young, so Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah, both the mother survived and the child survived. But unfortunately, the child, my nephew, his name is Safiuddin, he's 30, 35 now. He was born as a blind child. For the past 36, 35 years, he had been raised by a mother. He had been, he's a Hafiz now, who is a blind child, mashallah, mashallah. He just got married in 2023, this year in India, and he's coming back. So these are some of the best examples of us who are first generation immigrants coming from, and such illustrious, sisters here, come from different cultures, different environments, but finding the right place, which is the United States of America, to give ourselves the right kind of opportunities. So I appreciate everybody's involvement. I will be more than happy to involve myself more and more with all of us. I do have at least twice an audience with the White House and with the White House, big consultants. So I will give a very good kudos and good, uh, uh, review of this meeting, inshallah. I'll be very much happy to help in any way I can.
Jazakallah khairan. MashaAllah, tabarakallah. I I know Brother Shakir, you are parole automatically. Yeah. ẹ jẹ́ kí wọ́n ah you and your wife then you yield to your wife so ẹ̀yin ló bá ìṣòro àná.
Assalamu alaikum. So mine is more like a comment. Um, uh, the speaker earlier said that with disabilities is different. Like with a child with autism, they have different levels. So I experienced something in the mosque. So this boy, he is about 15. You see him, he looks normal, talks normal, walks normal, but he has autism, and he's like he has the autism spectrum thing. So, but most people, when you see him, you he talks normal, walks normal. You won't tell. You can't even tell. But he's like socially weird. He doesn't really communicate. Like he won't talk to you. He won't even greet you. So you would think he's rude, but he's not. His brain just like doesn't know you're supposed to do that. So an incident happened in front of me. Um, I would like to try to say this in Yoruba. So, ó fẹ́ lọ sínú mosque, ó fẹ́ wọlé, then another elderly man, àwọn náà ń bọ́ta. So, bó ṣe fẹ́ ó kàn wọlé tiẹ̀ ni, he doesn't know, oh, I'm supposed to open the door for you or something, he just walked in. So, wọ́n wá sọ pé, ó ò rí mi, kíní kan, ó fẹ́ tèmi ṣubú ni, ó fẹ́ ṣe kíní kan ni. So, he got confused, like, did I do something wrong? I don't know. So, I had to call him aside and talk to him that you normally are supposed to do this. So I just want this to be a teaching. Like if any child does that to you guys, especially with our grandmas and grandpas, please be patient with our kids. Some of them don't really understand. Like, oh, I'm supposed to do this. I'm supposed to greet you or say this to you. They don't know. So especially like with this child now, you can see him. He functions normal, walks normal, talks normal. So please be accommodating and just make it a teaching thing for them and say, oh no, you know you have to be patient with this and that. And also with the youth, when you're in school and you notice maybe a boy or a girl not talking, oh you're like, oh this guy is socially awkward, he doesn't talk to me. It doesn't mean you don't talk to them. Okay, it's just that they're like socially different. They don't know they're supposed to do this and that. So sorry.
Jazakumullah khairan. Thank you.
Last question, right?
Alhamdulillah, I'll take this one.
She can take last
Um,
question. Kí gbogbo ẹ̀ lè- Last question.
Assalamu alaikum. So I attended a training on disability, and we were told at that training, it was a work training, that you don't offer help to the disabled until they ask. Say, for example, somebody walks in and you think there's something physically wrong with their hand, they can pick. And you try to quickly offer to help them pick up something. If something drops from there, we're told not to because they feel offended. Like sometimes they want to be able to pick up that item himself or herself. So what's your take on that? Because if sometimes you don't quickly offer to help, it might look somehow, but at the same time, you don't want to also make them feel disabled. What's your take on that?
Alhamdulillah, I'm going to go with this question of the first sister or make a comment on that. Um, Kids with disability, Alhamdulillah, we are creating much awareness now within the community because in the past, it's like parents with disability or with kids with disability feel very uncomfortable by the way we treat their kids. In this masjid, when my son was very young, I always have him pray next to me in the women's section. There was a day we were praying. I think we finished praying. Maybe the sister came late and she was trying to finish up her salat. Immediately, my son crosses her. I just went bam on his back. I flared up. I was like, "Ṣebí irun lẹ sọ pé ẹ̀ ń kí? Báwo lẹ ṣe rí ọmọ tó ń kọjá níwájú yín tẹ́ fi nà án bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn?" We have to be considerate. Your kids might be normal. Does not mean those other kids with uh, disability are not normal. The way you feel your kids are so precious to you is the same way we feel our kids are so precious to us. So no discrimination. Ìbí ò yàtọ̀ ni àwọn màmá wa máa ń wí. So torí pé ọmọ tiẹ̀ lè rìn, ó lè sọ̀rọ̀ bó ṣe ń sọ̀rọ̀. Kò mean ní pé ọmọ tí ò lè rìn, tí ò lè sọ̀rọ̀ bó ṣe ń sọ̀rọ̀. Kò mean ní pé ọmọ yẹn ò kí ń ṣe ọmọ. Gbogbo ọmọ ni ọmọ níwájú wa. So Alhamdulillah, we're having this topic now. I believe it's going to go much, much across and it's going to help us to interact and relate better with kids with special needs. Um,
Assalamu alaikum. So, according to what my sister here said, awareness is important, and and acceptance too. We have to accept because as a community, we are always afraid of the stigmatization. Like, kí ni àwọn èèyàn máa sọ nípa ọmọ mi? But for you, like, you have to accept it first as a parent because most parents are in denial. Like Dr. Zainab said, if you have a child that is 18 months old, is not crawling, is not working, you have a 4-year-old child that is not potty trained, is not talking, you have a child that is fixated on things, repetitive behavior, you should know like something is going on. And also, please, I mentioned because I've worked with a lot of kids, epilepsy, seizure. People tend autism in our community. People tend to hide these kids. Please don't hide them. There are lots of resources out there for these kids, but you won't know until you ask. And to face the reality, especially with autism. In 2012, it is in every 69 birth, there will be one child with autism. And right now in 2022, it is one in every 44 birth. So we need to, sooner or later, we need to embrace it. And please, like the stigmatization has to stop. We need to embrace. We need to embrace it. Okay, that's one.
That's what,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, okay. So to answer the question by Sister Fuliat about helping to not help somebody who is disabled. So just to answer that question, a child with a disability might be different from an adult with a disability. When you have an adult who has a disability, they may be angry, they may have, grief and depression. So maybe the training that you went through, they told you not to help somebody, just, you know, I don't know, but that would be my own understanding. Not, yeah, they don't want that. They don't want you to feel pity for them. Okay. So, but that is very different with the kids. Kids need help. So, so just to sum up our conversation today, first things first, we want to thank the community for giving us this opportunity to talk about children with special disabilities, and also um, a way to help. I think as our wonderful teacher here, Sister Amina, has talked about, just inclusion, understanding, patience. I think they also talked about it, and your dua. We need your prayers. We need your dua for we as parents. We need your dua for our kids. We pray for our imam as he prays every day. For imam to also add our children in his prayers. That's the closing remark, I believe. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, Assalamu alaikum. Please, before we end, also in our community, we have to support the parents with special needs. And I want to make a special shout out to some parents that I actually and personally know. I was fortunate to work in Amani's class. I was fortunate to be one of our teachers, and she was one of the sweetest kids I ever know, and she's still till now. Farouk, you can see like because the parents embraced the diagnosis early. Now Farouk is thriving. Oh, Farouk is a very smart boy. In fact, don't even leave your phone with Farouk. Yes. Once you open your phone in front of Farouk, he knows all your password already. And at the end of the day, you might even be begging for a Farouk. Please, what's the password to my phone? Because some things that you don't even know your phone, for some functions you don't even know your phone can perform, Farouk will bring it up. And also Fawaz, because the mom embraced the diagnosis early. It wasn't talking. It was diagnosed with autism, but right now, mashallah, Fawaz is also thriving. So on and so forth. We have lots of special needs parents. Just reach out, reach out to. We also have teachers in our communities that are also special education certified. Sister Sekina is one of them. Sister Wasila is one of them. We have Mom Anish and we have Mom Elo. We have lots of teachers, special education teachers in our community. Reach out. Let's form a community. Let's be a support for them. Inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.
On that note, I would say, moving forward, I believe we're going to create more awareness forum, and we're going to incorporate more sisters outside the Momini community. Because I know some sisters, they don't want to come to Momini, and they are Nigerians because of stigmatization. But helping them to get out of their shell is going to help the kids, because special needs kids should not be isolated. When you isolate them, you are just not tapping into their potentials. You need to get them out.
Jazakumullah.
Get them out. They have a lot of potentials,
Thank
and
you.
we can all help them as a community.
Alhamdulillah. Jazakumullah khairan. Takbir. Takbir. الله أكبر. Everybody together, let's recite سورة الكوثر. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إنا أعطيناك الكوثر فصل لربك وانحر إن شانئك هو الأبتر. We're going to have Dr. Zina Bayebamichi give us presentation of the gift. So if you can please come up. While she's doing that, just a quick reminder. Thank you so much. Sunday, March 12th, we have the Ramadan workshop. Dr. Zina Bayebamichi, please. Go ahead.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa
Uh, the panel, I call you golden parents.
MashaAllah. Thank you so much.
I call you golden parent, and I feel like a part-time parent when you all open up very, very personal information. You don't have to share all this personal information. We know what is called PHI, right?
Yes.
So, out of your willingness, you share with us. Thank you so much. We hope everyone has learned so much here today. It's only Allah that can dictate how much your reward is going to be. You chose it. You chose it. You decide not to give up the child. You decide to go home with the pregnancy by the will of Allah. Only Allah know the weight of your reward. Thank you, Jazakumullah
Wayakum.
khairan.
Thank you so
And
much.
my son,
Yeah.
I had a child the same year that you were born. Thank
SubhanAllah.
you for being here with us. Thank
MashaAllah.
you so much. We learn
Alhamdulillah.
a lot from you.
Alhamdulillah.
And I to the community, there's a lot that we can learn. Look at what our brother said here, that this is a kid that taught him about sabr. Well,
Yes.
what a skill to have
Yes.
for anybody. So let
Yes.
us be patient. Let us be supportive of
Yes.
these parents. They are truly golden parents.
Alhamdulillah.
Jazakumullah
Wayakum.
khairan.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Here you go, Shamsuddin. And this is, oh yeah. Oh, no, you can take a picture.
All right. I need a picture
Shamsuddin.
with you. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Zainab. We appreciate your sincerity.
All right, just a reminder, March 12th, we have Ramadan workshop. And there's also going to be an Halaqah here at Masjid-ul on Tuesday, February 28th at 6 p.m. Jazakumullah khairan. May Allah bless all of you. Inshallah. All right, I'm going to invite to take it on from here. Please, let's settle down. I know some of us are eating. I'm going to invite the one and only engineer Halaqah to take on the next item on the agenda.
Thank you very much, Sheikh Hafiz Mubarak. Wonderful job. Takbir, everybody. Takbir. Man, don't I feel right at the block over. Takbir.
Allahu
By the
Akbar.
way, I understand that lunch was provided by the Bashar family. Jazakallah khairah to the Bashar family. So, having called their name, I'm going to bring them to the to the front. But before I bring them to the front, I'd like to bring a special couple to the front. Someone.
One house, one house,
One
one
house.
house.
One house. Someone. Okay, we're not going to leave here today if you don't keep quiet. Gbogbo afẹ́ jókòó síbi àfẹ́ kúrò bí ilé ìyá
Ẹ
mi.
jọ̀ọ́, a fẹ́ kírun láago méjì o.
Ọ̀rọ̀ àgbà máa postpone ìròyìn ẹ̀ di aago mẹ́ta àbí.
No, please no.
All right. So I would like to bring someone who went to the University of Lagos to get a degree. He will come and explain his degree. And someone who, when I want to introduce myself in the corporate world, I say, "Do you know Shakira?"
Uh-huh.
And they say, "Yeah, they know Shakira." So okay, remove the A at the end of Shakira, you get Shakir. That's how I introduce myself in the corporate world. So I'm going to bring the president and the first lady of Masjid-ul to the ITV Festival. Brother Wale Olarawaji and Sister Shakira Olarawaji, please come forward. Why am I bringing them? You want to know why I'm bringing them? The reason is this. You've seen this video in the background. You see the video in the background? Last November, we had the most romantic couple competition. The most romantic couple competition. And we have competitors all the way from Dallas and various parts of Houston. And our president, being who he is, and our first lady, being who she is, showed have the stuff to win the competition. Unfortunately, that day we could not honor them as much as possible. So we're here, bringing them here today to give them an honor. Please sit down.
Thank you so much.
Ideally, we would have had the winners from last year to give them the present. But the winners from last year are not available. I understand they're not
One house, one house.
I don't see Brother Nurel Lawal. Is he here?
I don't see him.
So, all right. So in that, in lieu of that, I will call on winners from the previous the year before last, and that will be in the name of another ex-president, Brother Bashir Suleiman, and Where's Mrs. Suleiman?
She's right there.
I can't. I'm.
She's right there. She here. She's in the
I'm
blue
lowering
scarf.
my gaze. I can't see. But please come forward. Amanda.
Elijah Masha Suleiman. She's right there. I see her right there.
Me, anyone.
Tell Masha to bring her. Masha knows where she is.
Brother Masha, please bring your wife. Go and come forward.
You can't see her. Masha can see her.
Brother Masha, I can't repeat what you said. Sister Aisha Suleiman, please come forward.
Omo Hikma, Omo Imani, Omo Iman, Amani. Uncle, yeah, I see it's a Boroko, mashallah. There you go. Please join us up here. Yes.
All right, so they're here to give. Where's your wife? Oh, where's your?
My wife should come, and the wives to be too should come.
You can't say it again.
My wife and my wife to be, please come home.
Sister Aisha, I'm paying you. And okay. Oh, now, all right. All right, so where's the gift? Man, yeah. All five of them for them. All the couples.
Okay.
These are the winners. I understand from my boss has given me a different instruction. It's for all the couples, but they will give the winners the instruction.
So
they are the winners. The other graduates. The other couples are they here who participated last year. Brother Sharaf. Farkos, please.
So I know what is here is baby diapers. So I don't know what message or signal they are passing on to you, but on behalf of the community, I've been asked to present to you this box of baby diapers. So you give it to the owner. Ejoka, Ọlọ́run àṣeyọrùn, ìwòye 9 months, inshallah, Ọlọ́run àbí ọmọ tó máa sọ ní orí oyè, àbí sóyè, inshallah, àbí sóyè, àbí àbí orí oyè. Tó bá jẹ́ méjì nù àti kan ní àbí sóyè, àpè kan ní orí oyè. Yes, all right, congratulations.
Yes, but we have other couples who want to give award. Brother Said, please come forward. Brother Farkos, please come forward. You don't have to bring your wives in this way.
Brad Said. Ó dà pé diaper Said yìí fún yẹ.
She only bigger diaper.
Said máa nídìí. Call your wife. Is she here? She's not here. Okay. And tí yàrá bá sí ìgbà kan fún yín diaper.
Brother Farkos, your wife is there.
So on behalf of the Muslim community, we present this gift, the extra large baby diapers to you and your wife. Ọlọ́run á jẹ́ kó wúlò fún yín o. Ọlọ́run á fi àlùbáríkà sí. Láìpẹ́ láì jìnnà, Ọlọ́run á jẹ́ kí ó multiply. Amen.
Who is representing the Balogos from Dallas?
The Balogos. Vargos. Pink diaper. Okay, Lord, you present this one. Pink diaper.
That's a very beautiful. Brother, I meet Shitu's family. Shitu family, are you here? Brother, I meet Shitu's wife. Is he here?
Brother, I meet Shitu. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, so Salah Karim. Alhamdulillah, may Allah continue to be with all of us and be with our community.
I mean, one house.
the family halakha that we did today, right?
Thank you, thank you.
It's uniquely different. It's uniquely different, and we have to continue to give our thanks to Allah
One house, one
for His
house.
blessings on all of us. Mrs. Masha àti ẹ̀gbọ́n
Alaja,
ẹ̀
thank you.
wọ́n pe wọ́n ní kẹlẹ́ jókòó. Okay.
Thank
All right.
you.
So I want to clarify something quickly, right? Kí Ọlọ́run fún wa ní ládàá ẹ̀.
I mean,
The Marshall family did not sponsor the lunch. We did not sponsor the lunch. We co-sponsor the lunch. I don't know where, I don't know who those people that my wife got money from, right? But I know that the money did not only come from us, it came from other people that jointly sponsored this. Inshallah, we're going to have a tradition after Ramadan that we have lunch during family like inshallah on a go forward basis. We're going to have a register for that too for my family. So you have to make it by you but we're still coming back together here, inshallah. Are you during Dr. Z? Dr. Z? Yeah, I see. Yeah, yeah. Okay. So inshallah we're still going to have the Ramadan workshop on March 12th, inshallah. That's about in 2 weeks. And we'll have a very good opportunity to do Ramadan fundraising, inshallah. But I want to say this quickly, the next 2 3 minutes.
one
To,
house, one
to,
house,
to
one
plan
house.
to plan the seed, right, for what we are going to see, inshallah, in 2 weeks. Imam no answer, Imam.
We're trying to finish up.
We
Get
finish, we
everybody,
finish
yeah.
it, right? So last night, one of our grandmas called me and said, Masha, ẹ máa ṣe fundraising ní ọ̀la fún Ramadan.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni.
Ẹ má pe àwa grandma o, ó wà ò tí pé we only have 2,200.
Wow.
Mo lé ní èló ni owó yín ẹ fẹ́ kó pé wọ́n ní àní sọ ọ ayé ní 2,200 owó ò tí pé mo ní ṣe a lè gba deposit owó yín sílẹ̀. Wọ́n ní no pé àwọn fẹ́ sọ pé àwọn kan pè mí pé kí n má bẹ̀ sọ fún àwọn ni pé kan pè àwọn lé ní so àwọn grandma ọ ní wọ́n bẹ̀rẹ̀ ká ọmọ ní 2 weeks lágbára Ọlọ́run a máa gba owó Ramadan yín lọ́wọ́ yín mo gbọ́ pé ó ti pé 2,400 nísìnyí but wọ́n lè yín dá right. When I walked in there this morning, I came in late. One of our brothers, say brother, and he came to me and said, mo fẹ́ sponsor oúnjẹ Ramadan. Mo fẹ́ fún yín lówó Ramadan. Mo ní mi ò tí ì máa gba owó mo fẹ́ ó ní ó sọ pé mo fẹ́ wọ́n jẹ́ first person láti san owó Ramadan. Mo ní ṣé ó fẹ́ fi 10,000 tó lè ṣàǹkọ́lẹ̀ kan ẹ̀ pé oṣù ẹ fẹ́ fún yín ní 10,000 ni wọ́n láwọn ò ní 10,000 pé wọ́n lè lówó àlọ́wọ́ yín wọ́n ní 2,000. Mo ní máa gbà bẹ́ẹ̀. Those are the people that we did not even ask that willingly and voluntarily came forward, right, to tell us that they want to sponsor Ramadan, want to donate towards Ramadan, and giving us heads up that inshallah in 2 weeks, right, and before then too, we are going to reach out to all of us. I will report here.
I know. Ed Alaji.
I will report here.
Ẹ̀dọ̀ ọ̀sọ̀ pé tó bá ní mọ́tò Avalon tó pààkì sáré bíbá yìí àti Lexus ó ń block ẹni tó fẹ́ lé ẹjọ́ o.
Yeah.
Let's keep it down and please move your vehicle.
Ẹ jẹ́ ká sáré parí ẹ̀. Àwọn ọ̀dọ́ à ń sọ ni pé gbogbo àwa groups àmọ́ra wa, gbogbo our families àmọ́ra wa. We are going to do what we've done in the past, what we did last year, and we are going to inshallah do more than what we did last year. Last year, Ramadan, when we were talking about fundraising, the inflation rate then was 7.6. And that was one of the reasons why a lot of people donated more than they donated in 2021. And we know that that has not come down. We are still in double digit right now. So we expect all of us to, inshallah, please donate generously. If your family is in the tradition of sponsoring iftar, is $2,000 for weekend. Please, let's do that. A lot of information has gone out. 2002, 2002 ni. And tó bá ní 2000 ọwọ́ kò fi ti ẹlẹ́ẹ̀lẹ́ ni màá bá fi tó rẹ̀ yẹ kún. Mo ń ṣe special, right? So 2002 ni, but if you have your 2000 today, right, and you want to donate 2002, I'll give you $200 to balance for 2002, inshallah. So let's do that. All our operational groups, all our groups, community of friends, right? You know, the doctors forum, the engineers forum, the accountant forum, or the teachers forum, all of us, we are going to definitely be in touch, inshallah, before 2 weeks time, right?
Inshallah.
I know that people more but we will be in touch, inshallah. We'll be in touch. Allah make it easy for us. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you so much.
Salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you very much, Brother Mashal. Let's go. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Real quick, let's listen to the announcement. You can come back for Kahoot after Salatul Zuhur. But go ahead, yes.
Okay, so there's Kahoot after Salatul Zuhur.
Yes.
All right. I have you 4 minutes just to give a quick update. Kafili locking right
Yes,
real
please.
long. So first off, MOI tax receipt. Salamu alaikum. I know I've received a lot of individual calls and conversation about this. So please listen very well. MOI tax receipt. A lot of us actually receive email or text from MOHID, MOHID. It's asking you to download tax receipt for the donations you made in 2022. Some of the questions Timothy received, is this legit? Is this a sort of scam or something? It is not a scam. That is our handle. So we're the ones sending the message out to everybody that has donated to basically give them a tax receipt for donations. So please, when you say it, you can download and let us know if you have questions. The second thing, same thing on Moid as well. So over there we have a POS system, which is a Moid system that we're using. Is a form of payment.
Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Don't forget to come back after Zuhur for Kahoot. Salatul Zuhur is coming up. Let's listen, please.
All right. Because we need to go make our wudu, I will round up the announcement now. In the masjid, inshallah, I'll make the announcement. So, Ajakalo she wudu wa kale lokirun.
All right. Al-Fatiha. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahmanir Rahim. Maliki Yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. Thank you so much. See you guys later.